you want to sit down calmly,
Apparently.
take a stress pill, and think.
Apparently, yeah. Yeah, I think that you should sit down calmly myself. After that, I don't even know what the hell to call that. We're going to have an after show on the Hyper-Calvinist discussion that we just had. Was not what I was, well, I'm not going to say it wasn't what I was expecting. I kept on telling him I don't want to have an argument on morality. I don't want to do precept. I want to do young earth creationist. But of course, as it usually turns out, when people don't know anything about these topics, especially young earth creationism, they always fall back to the precept argument, right? And there's no argument to be had there. A precept is not an argument. It's just somebody making assertions, saying they're right. That's it. And this guy who says that he had studied all these topics, well, I don't study these topics, and I know more than he does on them. So if somebody who studies them, they at least have to know something more than me, who's never studied these topics. I've read about them, but I can't say I've ever studied epistemology or studied logic. I took Boolean maybe a little bit, but I mean, let me ask eulogy here. For a guy that says they studied logic, what to you, as somebody who knows math and logic pretty decently, would expect to be a bare minimum prerequisite? And by the way, I do apologize. My voice is not up to par right now. I'm drinking coffee with whiskey in it to help soothe it. It's medicinal, right? So I'm not even lying. I'm drinking whiskey coffee. It's supposed to help, right? Or was that tea? Oops.
You having tea and whiskey?
It's coffee and whiskey.
God. Oh God.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what's good for the voice, tea or coffee and whiskey. I decided to go with the coffee and whiskey.
I'm a little hungover myself at the moment as well. So yeah.
What were you drinking?
I can't even remember anymore. A lot of wine, a lot of white spirits.
Yeah, wine will kill you.
Yeah, wine's not good.
Wine is a lot of sugar. Yeah, it gives you a brutal hangover.
It makes your brain feel like a prune when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling at the moment.
Yeah, it just like literally dehydrates your brain into a prune.
Try to get your brain.
Yeah, and then I woke up and then I woke up to this shit today. God.
Hey, you guys only had to listen. I had to participate in this thing. So again, what would you consider to be a bare minimum prerequisite for somebody to say they've studied logic? Would you think they know what a syllogism is? They know what a dichotomy is? Would they know what modus tollens is?
No. Well, no. Well, the thing is, basic syllogism would certainly be the most fundamental start. Understanding what modus ponens and modus tollens is would certainly be a good start as well. You don't necessarily need to know the Latin names for them, but it certainly would be good to know how they work and why they work.
And when I was saying that there are logical systems out there where certain principles of logic are not taken axiomatically, especially the law of excluded middle, there's quite a few forms of logic. Hey Matt, you're making a lot of noise. There's quite a few forms of logic that don't use the law of excluded middle. Would you agree? Oh, you lose your mic now.
I'll just jump in real quick. We don't use Aristotelian logic in computers.
No, I try to explain that to him as well. Aristotelian logic is not really what's used nowadays.
It's still relevant. No, it's still precursor
logic.
No, I mean, Aristotelian logic is still relative, but it's just not used in how we compute like algorithms and stuff. I mean, and that's why like you get different types of an axiom. Like some people think that there's a classical version, there's another version. How we use it in computer code, and that's the only reference I use basically, is an X can be anything, true or false. It's just the starting point in computers, not in literal philosophical axioms and that regard.
I really want to get Eulogy's take on this because he's actually more knowledgeable than any of us in this topic, but his mic kind of bit.
I hardly doubt that though. Come on.
I don't.
Especially not in my state right now. Oh God.
He wasn't understanding that he only adheres to classical logic, but there's other types of logic out there. And then he's making these weird statements like, "Why do you prove them?" Well, they're logical constructs. right? I mean, we can create logical constructs if they're coherent, and they have something that, for example, we predications, right? If we want to have a system based upon beliefs, right, then we have stochastic logic. We predicate it with a belief, and then we see how that works out. So you can have different types of believers. But I don't think he was getting that understanding. There's not just one type of logic. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of types of logic. I don't even know the names of half the logic. Well,
Like he said, there's a pyramid flat. He went, yeah, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Hey, you guys, I actually just came in to give you guys a little PSA. In just a few hours from now, the full moon is going to completely occult the star Aldebaran in just a few hours. I don't know if you're in some areas of the world you won't be able to see it because of the width of the Earth, but I know in pretty much everywhere in North America, and you'll be able to see it.
Can I see it in Jersey?
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, if it misses it, I've actually seen a near miss with Jupiter. You could see it in South America, but you couldn't see it in North America. But it just depends on. I'm pretty sure in Jersey you'll be able to see it, but it's just a few hours from now, and I guarantee you will not be able to see the star behind the moon because this moon's transparent stuff is hilarious. But a simple occultation observation just completely disproves that.
You can't see it because we're on a tetrahedron Earth. That's why.
Oh no, I was gonna say, man, how can you know all that shit? Like we live on a
Get your pagan magic out of here.
It's called a data model.
It's called
Stop
pagan moon
questioning
magic.
the beggar.
No, look. At the end of the day, is you live on a flat Earth. You know why? Because I read it in a fucking.
Well, go out, or at least get somebody that lives in the States or somewhere. You might be able to see it. You might not. It depends on how. It might be able to see it in Europe. It depends on how late it happens. From the looks of it, it's going to happen within the next about 3 or 4 hours.
But it would happen on the same day on a flat plane.
I was actually just paving the way to this transparent moon thing. That's really, I wasn't really trying to delve into some flat Earth, all that stuff. I was really getting into the humor of the transparent moon crap. A simple occultation observation just completely blows that away.
Unfortunately, I won't get to
Is
see it
this
'cause it's
the
all
MK?
cloudy out here.
Oh, I hope it's not cloudy outside when I go out.
Well, the moon is at the horizon right now. It's just risen, and Aldebaran is just to the left and lower left of it, and the moon's actually going.
Where are you at?
I'm in Central U.S. time. If you're in Jersey, the moon probably hasn't risen for you yet. It'll be another hour.
Let's kind of get back on topic.
All right.
But
anyway,
by the way,
yeah, I'm out. I'm sorry. I just want to give you guys a PSA. I'm out of here.
All right. Thank you.
You should also get a better mic.
Everybody, half the people in here have crappy mics. People asking for rum and coke. It is rum and coke right now because I am drinking coffee and whiskey, so it's the closest I'm gonna get. But it is for medicinal purposes only.
Like weed,
Medicinal purposes?
No, I hate weed.
but it's
My
medicinal.
question is, how?
He likes
My
spirit
question
with the
is-
spirit.
My question is, how is rum and coffee medicinal?
Because it's soothing my voice.
Are you sure?
Okay.
What kind of coffee
If
we're talking
that's
about?
the
Black,
logic-
frappuccino.
Instant.
Ah,
It's instant.
Instant okay, that's bullshit. That is not medicinal. Instant coffee is horrible
Yeah.
for you.
Well, it's working.
I have to ask: is that a picture of you in school or something?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
That was a picture I took like 3 years ago, yeah.
Okay, I was wondering if you either had drop ceiling in your bedroom or if you were in school.
This is called Irish coffee. If it had Clue in it, it would be Clue Irish coffee.
Ah, it has alcohol. It must be Irish.
Tom wants me to get rum and cock. Why would I want to get rum and cock?
We all know
Well,
you're
I think
gay,
he's-
Steve. Admit it.
Yeah, not my
Okay.
thing. Yada! Yay! Look who showed up. Yada, so what do you think of that shit show? I mean, do you have any brain cells you left?
I thought it was hilarious the entire time, but
I had to leave because I didn't want to die of retardation.
Yeah, pretty much the same here.
Yeah, I
I didn't mean to expose you to that for so long, Yada. Please forgive me, accept my apologies. I know.
I mean, I'm already
Long
feeling a
line
headache
good.
at the moment. I just feel like wanting to face plant my face straight into the
Hey,
monitor.
Steve. If
Yeah.
it makes you feel any better, I exposed my best friend to G-Man, so I don't think I could lose any more brain cells today.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
I think
honestly, I
we're
want.
wrong, Matt.
Yeah, that's not really. You really don't want to say that, but
Oh, sorry. I didn't
That's
mean
like
to
a
call you out.
recipe for getting your friend to disclaim you forever.
No, he could. Okay, so he wouldn't believe me that somebody could be that stupid. And I'm like, dude, I swear to God, there is somebody this stupid. He did not believe me, so I queued up G-Man's channel and I showed him a video. He goes, I will never tell you that you were wrong about something ever again.
Yo, I hate to say this, but I've heard G-Man drop better raps than that thing. What's his face? Eminem did on Trump. That freestyle, if you can call it that, that was bad. Like, I get the message, but yeah.
But there's kind of this normality of stupidity that we have around, right? I mean, when you're talking about G-Man, or you're talking about Ronnie, you're talking about this Hyper-Calvinist guy, there's some point where I just don't think you can go that much lower. But again, every time I say that,
world will surprise.
Somebody goes lower. So, I mean, but don't you think there's a threshold that you say, okay, anything below this is just too dumb for words?
Anything below this, they are pretending to be that stupid because no one is actually stupider. Sorry, I know that's not a word.
No, I don't think. No, that's not true. G-Man is not pretending, and I don't think this guy Hyper-Calvinist was pretending.
G-Man is not that fair. Come on. I mean, G-Man will argue till he's blue in the face, but he's not that dumb as that guy. Come on, that guy was just like, wow.
But do you understand how irrational somebody sounds when they say, "Look, I'm not going to accept empiricism. I'm not going to accept rationalism, and no matter how much evidence you show me empirically, it'll never supersede what I think is my interpretation of the Bible."
At this point, they have to do that just to maintain that.
But that's because he's a fundamentalist.
Okay, Steve, everyone.
No, I've seen fundamentalists that don't even say that. I disagree.
Okay, but here's the thing: everyone has their own interpretation to the Bible, whether you're an agnostic, atheist, Calvinist, Baptist, whatever the fuck you want to be. Everyone has their own interpretations. That's why there's several different interpretations. So whether you can't really change something that someone is like firmly grasped upon, even if someone was like straight Catholic. I mean, you can't. It's very hard to shake them off of what they've been taught or maybe raised on. So I can see where you're coming from.
Well, yeah. And that's a good point. Actually, I wish I would have asked him. And I don't think Skylar did. Correct me if I'm wrong. I watched most of Skylar's debate with him. That was he indoctrinated into this? Was he? Because he said that he's never had a priest talk to him about Hyper-Calvinist or anything like that. He's learned this stuff on his own. I thought.
I went to a Calvinist church, and a lot of things that they said from the Bible I did not agree with because to me it didn't sound correct. Like there's a lot of different. I would say there's a lot of different elements that they preach upon that I don't personally agree with, and that's just, that's my opinion. That's not me saying, hey, your opinion is wrong. I just, I don't see how they see it. Not that I'm saying, and I used to be Christian, I'm not going to lie. I'm agnostic as of this point because there's a lot of things that after reading again that I just don't see adding up.
Okay, wait, are you like my type of agnostic, or are you like just using the word?
Okay, I'm the type of agnostic where, again, I don't believe and I don't disbelieve.
Okay, you're agnostic.
He's not asked. It's what he's saying. He's not asked.
He's not. That's a good definition. I'm fine with that.
Isn't he saying?
Yeah,
he has some religious beliefs that he's still agnostic about. I mean.
Okay. Well, here's what happened. I'm just gonna explain a little bit of why I have become why I'm agnostic as of this point. When I was younger, I went to a state Bible quiz tournament. I took first place out of the entire state, and that's whenever I was considered a true Christian. But growing up, I was forced to be a Christian, and when I actually moved out of my house, I started experiencing the world for myself. I took a hard look at the Bible, and there were things that I looked at that I just could not add up and make sense of. So therefore...
No, I see that. I totally agree with you on that. So you don't say God doesn't exist, and you don't say He does exist. You're like an agnostic like me. Okay.
Well, exactly.
Sorry,
like if I'm going to say he exists, I want definitive proof. And if I'm going to say he doesn't exist, I also want definitive proof.
Well, I don't think I don't think you can get definitive proof either way. But I'm not a Huxleyan agnostic. I'm a temporal.
Well, I would say it in that regards, Matt, is that living in England, and I can only speak for people in the UK. I can't really speak for America.
I hear this. Stey's going to speak for everybody that lives in the entire UK. Watch this.
Well, statistically,
he's the unelected leader now.
I mean, someone's going to go, no, you're
the queen. We've got Stey.
Well,
we're going to get Fiona Robertson coming in here in 2 seconds.
No, the vast majority in the UK are just like you. They're born technically in families that are Christian or Protestant, one of the two. But actually, do most of them go to church? No, they're agnostic. Or in fact, it's slightly above atheism. In the sense, like, no one cares about God because our history has proven that the separation of church and state is a good fucking idea. And it's not because of is God real or not. It's if someone believes in God, what's the implications of it? Well, you get things like abortion, you get like burning people on crosses and shit like that, and that's in a society. We all agree that so I'm not against people who believe in God. I'm against people who want to dictate to me I should because it said so in the Bible.
I mean, I don't believe America has separation of church and state.
No, we don't. We really
not as we should have. Not what the founding fathers would have wanted, at least.
Okay,
I agree with that.
Exactly.
You cannot confuse separation of church and state with theism versus not theism or atheism, whatever you want to just label it as. Those are two different things. I'm an advocate for separation of church and state, right? I'm a diehard, secularist. Okay, but that has nothing to do with agnosticism or atheism or theism.
No, but what it can do is instead of someone coming at you with like some bullshit, like use some logic to disprove God, you don't need to do that. You say, okay, let's say, I don't accept your, position that God exists, right? But somebody else might do that. But how do we make society a better place? But we just accept that it's an opinion. As soon as you say it's a fact, then you get into this whole logical argument of.
Well, that's what Hyper-Calvinist was doing. He was asserting it as
failed.
Oh, failed, absolutely. He didn't know what a logical argument was, so how could he construct one?
Here's a good example of this. I'm pansexual, which falls under the category of homosexual, and it says in the Bible that it's an abomination. And a lot of people have told me that I'm a horrible person because I'm gay and they are hardcore Christian. Now, there are some people that I know that actually do believe in Christian faith that do not agree with that. And I'm going to say this just because this is what I believe. I am not against the idea of religion. I think everyone should have something that they can hold on to when they're in desperate times or they need something to pick them up. But it's a difference between believing in religion and totally telling someone that their whole entire lifestyle is bullshit and that they cannot do it.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Dogmatic approach. I agree with that.
There's a difference between having your religion and trying to force it on others.
Exactly.
Right, but
a good saying is religion is not a dick. Don't force it into somebody.
But here's the thing.
Rape, help.
The type of hangout we just had, right, is instrumental in showing how bad some people's religious beliefs are, or their epistemological framework they had. I mean, wait, let me finish. Hyper-Calvinist. Do you think that if anybody who watches this video, do you think he's going to convert a single person to his way of thinking?
No, but
not a single person. Now there might be people that agree with him off the bat.
Yes, but here's why he won't convert anybody. Here's the reason why. I'm gonna put it into layman's terms. The reason why he will not convert anybody is because he is to a fault not going to admit that he could be possibly wrong. When
because in his worldview, it can't be wrong.
Exactly. In his mind, everything about his religion is correct. Nobody else's opinion matters. Nothing that you tell him will make a difference. He is so strong and caught up in his religion that you could literally tell him that you have met God and he is nothing like anything that you have seen before, and he's going to call bullshit on you. And he's
according to him, Steve is God.
Yeah, I could be his God. He didn't know. After that, I didn't know where to go with the conversation.
I would worship Steve.
I have never
afraid of Steve.
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure if I prayed, Steve would probably answer my questions.
Here's my point.
I give a donation on his Patreon, obviously.
Okay, so let me give a good example, and I'll get to my point pretty quickly. One of my best friends is Islamic, right? we were walking down the street and some fucking Bible thumper came up to him and they noticed that he was Islamic and they just started trashing him. Like straight up, like your religion is bullshit, blah 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 blah. And he calmly approached them and like okay, he just basically said this: your beliefs are your beliefs, my beliefs is my beliefs. We don't need to cause inner turmoil between the two of us just because we believe in two different things. But with him, accept that there are other interpretations of something. Now, Steve, you and me both know that I am not the brightest person in this community. You've talked to me a couple different times, and I'm the type of person when I don't know something, I'm going to study up on it. That way, I can actually talk about it without.
That makes you probably one of the smartest people in the fucking group.
Yeah, that makes you. That puts you in the top third.
Okay, yeah. I don't want to put myself into a video and make myself look like a complete jackass because that is just stupid and bad on my part. I know a lot about religion because I have chosen to study it. Like, I've studied the multiple different religions, and I've seen the points in different ones, and I've seen how they work. With Calvinism, there is fucking nothing you can do or say to them that is going to shake them from their beliefs if they were hardcore raised on it.
Yeah, I don't think he was raised
I know
because that is just how they are.
Yeah,
well,
I agree. Like,
okay,
so raised on it, but they are okay. We've all dealt with Matt Slicks and his group, right?
Okay.
Matt Slick, Matt Yes.
I actually don't know who that. I don't know who that is exactly, but
oh, stay away from them. Trust me.
They're called the Calvinist Mafia.
He's like Jim Jones in a way.
What?
Here's why I say this. He is like Jim Jones because okay, here's why I say this. He blindly believes in what his religion tells him. That is how he
Calvinists
is.
are like
he
that. Calvinists. I find that Calvinists to be the least Christian of all most religions because the Calvinist, unfortunately, just asserts things, and then they tell you things like, "Oh, it just makes no sense. I'm elect, but God already predetermined that. But I still have to do all this stuff." And I mean, wait a minute. It's like if you're pre-elected, then why does it matter what the hell you do?
Exactly. To me, there are two different types of, or forms, if you will, of Christianity that basically are not even related to Christianity. It's Calvinism.
No. Your phone's making me phone sick. Motion sickness.
And then,
yeah, man, your camera drives me nuts too.
Your phone's
like,
I'm just going to go ahead and turn my camera off. Sorry,
but not really.
That's what
okay, but anyway, Calvinism. God damn it, Calvinism and Jehovah's Witness both are not really a form of Christianity, and here's why I say this. Okay, so Jehovah's Witness do not celebrate any holidays and do not believe that Christmas, if you will, is the birth of Christ. Now, a lot of people...
Most Christians don't believe that.
They stole that shit from, they stole that shit from the pagans. Fuck them.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of summer coming, dude.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Listen, a lot of denominations believe and teach that Christmas was, in fact, the birthday of Jesus.
No, they really don't.
You have to be stupid.
But here's the thing. That doesn't make that.
They do teach that actually.
Stop interrupting me.
My denomination taught that.
Is my mic not working?
Exactly.
I'm trying to talk. I have 4 people talking over me. Let me try to direct you. Okay, thank you. Okay. Those do not make or break what a Christian is. If they accept holidays and they don't, or Christmas or not, that doesn't make a Christian or not. Jehovah's Witness and Calvinists are Christians. They're just poor examples of Christianity, but they are Christians.
Oh no, I'm not saying that they're not, but here's the thing: with the Jehovah's Witnesses, they believe that you can be quote unquote unsaved if you do certain things, like if you your wife, you become unsaved or some bullshit like that. And most Christian denominations do not teach that.
Right, that doesn't make them not Christian.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, all you need to accept Matt, all you need to accept as a Christian that Jesus was the Messiah. That's it.
Pretty much. I agree with that. I mean, listen, here's the reality.
The rest
is the reality. There's no one objective thing that we can say this is what a Christian is, except for what Stein just said.
Yeah,
that's the only qualifier that I could possibly see. Now, when and I've had Christians argue this point, and people that I respect even, that tell me, "Oh no, Steve, let me explain why this particular group are Christians."
Yeah.
Well, you're still taking it from your Christian. There's nothing you could ever point to objectively and say this is the way it is until God actually comes down and says, "Hey, these guys were right. All the rest of you guys were wrong. Y'all just motherfuckers are guessing."
Yeah, and that's the problem with religion because they all say this is the Messiah when that's up for interpretation basically, depending on history, time, whatever.
But you see my point in that? Nobody knows for damn certain, or even has knowledge of these things. I don't believe anybody knows God exists or don't that living on the planet right now. That's why I'm a temporal agnostic.
Here's what I
Yeah, that would be a fair assumption.
I think so. I mean,
here's what I would say.
I'm sorry, not assumption. It would be a fair position.
No, it is an assumption. I assume that. I'll admit that. I can't really conclude it off anything. But
I think I'm being polite and saying I think position would be a better thing to be polite. But yes, it would be an assumption, obviously. But position is to respect someone's, belief in.
Yeah, right. But it's a good position because you can know God exists, supposedly. Let's say hypothetically, right? That's not possible, right? So let's say you know one way or another. Regardless of what you know, my epistemic limit prevents me from knowing that. So to me, it's just like the knowledge doesn't exist.
Yeah. So
right, because you can never show me what you know. So I believe that you just don't know that. I believe that most people, if not all people, don't know it.
Well, it's something that's not falsifiable. So it's not like what are you going to do about it? It's like me saying my favorite color is red, so therefore everybody's favorite color is red.
Thank you. Exactly. It's an incorrigible belief, right? It's an incorrigible belief. Exactly.
Okay, but I will put it this way. If Jesus actually did exist, and I'm not saying that he didn't.
I think he did.
But if he did, he was a rebel completely against the entire Old Testament.
Well, that's why he got crucified.
Exactly. So my point, my question is in this. The entire Bible is, in fact, the Word of God. Hell, with the Son of God, counteract and completely basically disprove the entire first part of the Bible.
But didn't he say it was not against the old laws, or am I misremembering?
No, he said he didn't come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. But I think there's a way to reconcile that. I don't think that's really a great argument. There are forms of Christianity where Christ basically just fulfills the plan that was already in existence, that God started from the beginning, that he would be changing that at some point.
I believe that it's a very good placebo. That's how I see the Bible.
At the end of the day, look, if you have a belief, right, it's not a requirement to go into the whole logical realm of stuff. You don't require logic to have a belief, right? And this is the problem I always get with theists. I'd even listen to like great hangouts that Steve does, is they always resort to, no, I'm going to prove God. You can't prove God. Like I just said, I can't prove that my favorite color red is the favorite color of all human beings. It's an opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
it's got nothing to do with logic at all. Say the world's flat, that's a different story altogether. Bust your ass on that one because you know that for a fact. But a belief is completely different,
Yeah, we could take a measurement.
Believe the world's flat. You have to say
a measurement if the Earth is not flat,
and then get ass kicked. Obviously, I mean, I can just show you an equilateral triangle, and you just got your ass kicked.
But the pre-supper, I mean, all they do is they take their beliefs, they assert it as fact, and say, "I can't be questioned on it."
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because it says so, and then they do the secular argument bullshit. It's in the Bible, so therefore, what I'm saying is true.
You basically, they're like, "This is right. You can't prove me wrong, and there's nothing that you can say or do that will prove me wrong." And that's the problem.
He kept saying it. He said it more than once. He said, "How do you know something to be true that is false?"
But that would apply to him.
That's what I want.
How do you know something to be false that's true? It's like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. I'm asserting for a fact that your type of God does not exist because your type of God has been disproven, it has been falsified, right? The young Earth creationist God, the flat Earth God, that God does not exist because it has been falsified. We know the Earth is not flat.
Yeah,
exactly. And I really wish I could have stepped into the conversation and actually talked to this guy because I would have made a really
you wouldn't
point.
want to. No, that's like having a migraine.
Yeah, trust me. What was it? 2 hours, I think, or something like that.
I'm surprised it lasted that long, Steve. To be honest with you.
Hang on, guys. You underestimate my power to take in stupid people. Trust me when I say this. I deal with stupid people every day at my job, every day when I come home, and pretty much anywhere I go. Me and my friends are surrounded by stupid people. I live at because the place that I live at is nothing but Bible thumpers. And if you are not a Christian or you are an atheist completely, you are an outcast in society, and most of them wish you were dead.
No, but you know the funny thing is, you say that, right? But the thing that gives me hope is that there's 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 people where you live that actually changed their mind and was like, hold on, this seems a bit weird.
Do you guys notice?
So that gives me hope, at least.
Do you guys notice?
Here's the thing.
Oh my God! I start talking and people start talking. I have a hard time getting a word edgewise, and my throat is.
He's probably a bit laggy. He's on his phone. It's a lag thing. He's probably a bit laggy.
Yeah, but my voice is bad as it is. So, Okay, look. Have you noticed, though, when you're having a conversation with somebody who's not an idiot, that's a theological person or a theologian. For example, if I talk to Han Solo or Canny, Ochiwa, or any of those guys, we can have really engaging, good, meaningful conversation. Not me going, what the fuck? Well, no, actually, Fiona doesn't talk about theology that much, very rarely.
No, but I mean, Fiona's a Christian, but she doesn't.
She really doesn't talk about her theology very much. She doesn't get it.
She doesn't need to because she's not a fucking idiot.
But let me finish where I'm going with this. But when you have people that don't even know the very, very simplistic things that we normally talk about, like this guy HC, it's a totally different type of conversation, and it gets to the point where I'm not even enjoying it anymore because I'm like, this is just me pointing out somebody being stupid, which, by the way, we all know is not that difficult. It doesn't take a special talent to point out somebody making contradictory statements, right? I mean, Skyler did it great last night. Skyler did a beautiful job. He's like, dude, you said this, now you say this, now you said this. And did you notice how many times he tried to throw out a fallacy? How many did he get right?
He just didn't even answer any of your questions, which is kind of like weird. Well, it wasn't weird, but it's like when I was listening, I was just like, huh? He was trying to explain to him like the basics, and he still just said,
yeah,
oh, God. Like when you asked that question, and he said, God, and I was just like, oh, what the fuck? Huh?
But I think these people hear what they want to hear. I mean, how many times I ask them, can you have a 4-dimensional or can you have a thing with 4 corners that's not a flat?
Yeah, no,
the paper one.
When you
say it was a circle, he keeps hearing things we're not saying.
Okay. If you guys know that, I'd like to say something. Steve, ever since I've joined this community and every time I have watched one of your videos, I have gained new knowledge from everything, and I am very thankful for that. Good. And one of the very important questions that I was asked when I was trying to figure out if I was Christian, atheist, or agnostic was, if God is like all-powerful, can he make a rock that he cannot move? And that was actually one of the things here. That's one of the questions that started me just trying to figure out what I was going to like believe.
Did you find out why that's a bad question?
Because he can.
No, I mean, hang on.
If he's all powerful, he can make rocks.
No, it's not. Hang on, stop. Matt, do you realize that that's a bad argument?
Yes.
Into enough to go, okay, this, because when I hear an atheist use that argument, it's like, come on, stop using that argument. It's not a good argument. It's a bad argument.
It's stupid because clearly it can.
To me, before I figured out it was a bad argument, I thought it was an actual good question at first because whenever I was super Christian, every time someone asked me that question, I wanted to fight that answer.
Well, Steve,
the reason why it's not a sensible object.
No, look, I was just like HC, believe it or not. I was a complete asshole when I was a Christian, and there was nothing you could tell me or do to me that would shake my faith and would prove to me that I was wrong.
Until you
Then I started growing up, and I was like, hey, this is really stupid. Why am I doing this? I'm a complete ass with myself.
Well, you're only young though as well, so you know.
Like,
to be fair.
I still gotta make a video. I was gonna make a video 10 things atheists need to stop saying, or 10 bad arguments atheists make.
Yeah, like rocks are atheists.
Yeah, you should really do that because I don't know why that question. Like, I mean, if you could explain really quick why that question is a bad argument.
What?
You know, the one about God creating a rock so big.
Because you're asking to create something that is nonsensical. It's like me saying, can God create Abalaka? It's meaningless.
It's not that. It's actually an oxymoron. If an all-powerful being can do anything, then he can create a rock that he can't live.
No, he can't.
He can.
No,
it's basic logic.
No, the way they got around this was with the principle of eternal verities. And the principle of eternal verities states that God cannot create something that is a conflict to create a contradiction.
Well, right? God can do anything. That's the problem.
No. But you're not. Listen to me carefully. They resolved this by coming up with the principle that God cannot create contradictions.
God is a
That's how they got around this problem.
He's an all-knowing thinking being. In order to think would require you not to know anything in regards to knowledge, right? So if I'm an all-knowing being, then how do you gain knowledge? You have to not know knowledge.
I should say it has meaning. It doesn't have. Yeah, you know what, Ben and Max.
Okay, it's semantics, but you get the point.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get into that argument, but you see the point where I'm coming from, though, right?
I'm trying to correct myself. Brandon makes a good point. It's pretty meaningless and not coherent.
So, my question is this.
So, can I correct myself?
Yes,
yeah,
of
go
course. It's your fucking channel.
Yeah, but I keep getting stepped on.
It's lag. It just happened.
There's not lag. There's no lag right now. But yeah, I got to correct that because there's a difference between meaningless. The concept is not meaningless as far as gibberish, right? It's not what I just said is gibberish. There's a difference, but there's still a bad argument because God can't do something that creates a contradiction.
Okay.
Right. So that's just, you're not limiting his omnipotence. You're just saying he can only do something and since that's not possible in any possible world, it can't be done. Right. You can't create a square circle in any possible world. So God can't create a square circle.
Well, it forgoes what it does do, it forgoes the part that he's actually all powerful. So it's a bit weird.
My question is,
it's a contradiction, exactly what Steve just said. I just put it in different. Contradicts the latter.
I've been wanting to actually get an answer to this question because my friends and I have had it for like about a month now. How do we know or do not know if the whole Bible was basically just a setup for parents to teach kids how they should live their life?
Well, we don't know
because too many people wrote in it.
Okay, but let me explain where we got this question from. Right, one of my friends, and I'm not gonna disclose his name. His parents taught him that playing with yourself, for better words, is against the Bible. An unholy thing, and if you did it, you were going to hell.
That's just
so in that logic, every man is going to hell. Every woman is going to hell.
Well, so in the Bible, we're all going to hell anyway.
Exactly, but my question is.
Well, I'm not big in the whole narrative that God sends people to hell to burn for eternity. I would love to have a theologian come in and have that discussion. I would talk about that one day. To me, it doesn't make sense to me at all.
By default, in the Bible, after Adam and Eve took knowledge from the tree in the form of an apple, we were all sinful. You were born a sinner. Your redemption comes not from life itself, but from whether God thinks you were faithful to God's message. He knows you're born. It's a bit.
But that's not. What does that have to do with the fact that people are advocating that there's an eternal punishment burning forever? That I don't. I don't read in the Bible that way, and two, that to me would not be a just God. And three, when you have Christians saying they're going to be looking down from heaven and watching people burn and laughing at them, that's just sadism.
Well, I don't think
it's straight up sadism.
Against the Bible completely. Like if you're telling me that they are laughing at you that you're burning in hell, that doesn't make much sense to me because throughout
Shameless doesn't snipe.
Most of the Bible, it teaches you to show compassion for those that are not found with God.
Done it before, so
but
Shameless does not snipe. He's not sniped my hangouts. No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
So my question is this:
he's never sniped my hangouts.
Okay.
Shameless is fine to come in. But I mean, I would like to ask a theist. Here, speak of the devil.
Well, Matt used to be one. So ask him. Welcome back, shots.
Hey, Shameless, your mic working?
Testing 1 2.
Shameless.
Come on, Shameless.
All right. Well, who used to be one? Yachty was it? Yachty.
Shameless, identify yourself.
Oh yeah, but I don't want to ask Matt, but
you can ask me.
I don't think you know because I don't think you ever thought this way, so it wouldn't really apply to you.
Was Shamus still a theist?
What was the question?
All right. Well, my question is, if for example, G-Man has said that he's going to relish being up in heaven, looking down on all the atheists and other people burning, and my question would be, if you could do that now, if you can say, hey, look, God, make this person go burn in a vat of burning oil right now, would you do it?
That's my sinister.
You didn't have to send him to hell. Just right now, just send him. Hey, God, put this person in burning oil.
Okay, that's where G-Man is very, very wrong. Because again, he may think that way, that does not make all Christians believe that way. In fact, most Christians want to save people from going to hell, even if they do not like said person. Like, I could hate your guts.
But that's not my argument. That's not my argument. G-Man has said, and he's in the live chat, he has said that he's going to be looking down from heaven and looking at the people and laughing at them. Don't say that you haven't, G-Man. You most certainly have. Everybody in here has heard you say this. Has anybody not heard him say this?
Steve,
Or anybody else besides me?
Steve, I hate to ask this, but can you bring him into this, because I'd like to talk to him.
Oh, that's gonna be
Anybody
interesting.
come in. My hands are open.
I don't think G-Man will come in because he's terrified of people.
If you can text him on the chat, please tell him to come in here, because
I'm not going out of way. No, here's the thing. Anybody go in doesn't mean I'm going out of my way for anybody.
Exactly.
So wait, has anybody ever heard G-Man say that he's gonna be up in heaven looking down at people burning and laughing?
Yeah, I hands up, I have. Yeah.
Sty has. Anybody else has?
I have.
About G-Man?
I think yeah, the same.
G-Man,
yes,
if you can.
Yeah, I think I heard.
Oh, go ahead.
I think I heard him say that.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah. So that's what
a lot of people have. So,
Steve,
what is it?
Question. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
The answer to your question, if I could do that, no, I would not do that. And if
I'm not asking.
G-Man, if you can hear me, I would love for you to join in this chat, so that way I can prove to you how idiotic that is. Because here's the thing. If I knew someone was going to hell, right? If I knew that there was a hell, definitively, and if there was something that I could do to prevent that, I would. That's because I'm not going to say that I'm the greatest person alive, but I am at least a decent enough person to know that hell, if it is real, is a horrible fucking place to go.
So you would like to prevent that then, right, Matt?
Yeah, Coffee Smug in the live chat, it just had the best answer I've ever seen. He said, "I don't watch G-Man." That's the best.
That's actually good.
That's the answer you all should have given, but you didn't.
But G-Man, if you can hear me, it is on the Great Debate community page. Steve posted it. Come join this chat, and I will prove to you that everything that you have dropped in Christian logic is incorrect. And I am a 19-year-old kid.
Christian, the whole Christian logic thing is an oxymoron. That's what I'm awesome. Sorry, I have to say that.
All right, I have to go make some more coffee and whiskey for medicinal purposes. Yada or Tom, I'm putting you two in charge. You figure it out.
Yada.
Oh, yeah, people.
Yeah, Yada.
Yada.
Too bad. Here, I'll give you mine.
I think that was a proper WWE challenge to G-Man. better come in right now. He will be known as a cover for the
I just had 90 minutes with this other guy. You really think I really want to deal with G-Man now? Where are you?
Like it, Steve. Come on, Steve. You know you want to.
Here's the other.
Just get some more whiskey down that cover.
I gotta go make coffee.
Guys, it does not have to last that long. But yes, in a way, I am challenging him. And Yada, here is why I am challenging this man. I have watched at least 10 of his different videos, and the fact that he is saying this shit pisses me off, because one of my best friends happens to be Christian, and he gets so much shit because of people like G-Man. And if G-Man can hear me, he needs to grow a pair of fucking balls and come out and talk to me. Because I've been trying to talk to him for a while. I've been reaching out to him on G+ and different places, and he is still ducked me like a 4-year-old child under a chair.
Oh, yep.
So yes, I am challenging him.
He should take you on right now.
Yeah, I'm up for that. Are you up for that? Yeah, I'm up for it.
Here's the thing, he will not take me on. He will not take me on because he is not a man. He is a child.
I've got mods, so I can let him in.
Yeah, well, G-Man, if you want to come in, you're being challenged by a former Christian.
A 19-year-old child.
19-year-old child. There you go. He's saying it. So come and debate a 19-year-old kid. I don't mean to sound.
You know what?
Like
I don't like. No, Yada, you're fine. I don't.
You're saying it.
No,
not
I
me.
understand.
I'm just trying to make him come in.
I don't really like to be called a child, but at this point in fucking time, I am making a goddamn point.
No, you're a mature adult child. That's all.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm just tired of people that I actually care about that are actually Christian and are really good people getting shit because of idiots like him.
Yeah.
Because I watched one of his fucking live streams and it was atrocious.
Hey Matt, do you know G-Man has converted more people to not be Christians than he's converted to be a Christian?
Exactly. But here's the thing. Hang on. Yada, listen. You know what I bet?
That's actually true. That's not a joke.
I bet you anything. I bet you anything he heard my voice, he heard me call him out, and he ducked out like, and I'm sorry for saying this, he ducked out like a pussy.
Well,
I thought you was going to say an N-word, but I'm glad you said pussy.
No, I don't use that word because I'm not a racist biggest.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Okay,
It's just a joke. Relax. It's okay. You're American. I'm just taking this.
No, I'm not mad at you. I'm just tired of this asshole ducking me.
Well, you know what? I think I feel your passion and anger, and that's really good. I think what you're doing is
exactly.
No, hold on. Let me finish the second, man. It's still hopeful though, and I'm going to say this as somebody who is not even remotely interested in religion anymore, just because it's just a waste of fucking time. But in regards to, because you are, and you're agnostic. Now, I don't like agnosticism personally myself, but that's up to other people to decide their own belief systems. You know, I'm not a fascist or whatever. But what I would say is, it makes me hopeful. No, it makes me hopeful that people like you who are young in America, okay, it's maybe one of 100, maybe one of 1,000, but that still matters. That some people of your generation are going, this whole religion thing is a bit weird, and we could do more with our energy as younger humans, because you're going to inherit the earth. Most of us guys are going to die, and you're going to be still here, right? It's up to you guys to change the world. And if you want to be a bit more inclusive, secular, then that's good for humanity. And that's all I can take as a positive from that. I don't give a fuck if you believe in God or not, to be quite frank. It's how you implement what you believe in values, and that, I think, is what we should kind of promote.
we don't see the value through what hyper-Calvinism was going on about. You know, there's just nothing there.
That's bad for
We both know that hyper-Calvinist and fucking G-Man are not going to come in here and talk to me because they are afraid that a 19-year-old child is going to fucking own them based on a fight of logic. And here's why I'm disgusted with this person. He went up and told a group of their entire religion is bullshit, that they are horrible people, and blah blah blah, and that pisses the fuck off.
Breaking up.
I didn't hear any of that, and you just say it again.
But such passion, dude.
What I missed?
I love it.
But listen,
well, you need passion if he's angry.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid. I'm sorry to say this, Matt, but this kid grew up in a family where, you know, he's in that environment, so no one can blame anybody for that. But he's grew up and realized that what he's been told is complete bullshit. I'd be angry too. I know lots of theists who tend to be atheists. I said, "Oh, calm down, relax." You know, I know you were pissed at the lies you were told, but you know.
By the way, if anybody's
other people
having whiskey with
you were like them once upon a time.
Like,
sorry, does anybody care? I said, if anybody care.
All the guys. Go ahead, Steve.
I said, if anybody cares, I'm having whiskey with a little bit of coffee and a little bit of milk.
That sounds.
I want some whiskey.
I want that too.
Okay, this was a little bit stronger than I had intended to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
If you'll give me just 1 second.
It's milk. I got milk in here. A little bit of milk.
Yeah, don't put milk in it, Steve. It's nasty. You'll have a bad stomach.
No, it's not bad.
You're supposed to have it black with whiskey, not with milk.
Yada. Let me explain why I'm passionate about this.
Okay.
Whenever I found out that, you know, that I wasn't straight, a lot of things opened up in my mind, and I started growing up as an open-minded person. So I'm not going to tell somebody that they're incorrect for what they believe in, because that is not who I am. If I don't personally believe in it and you do, that's good on you. I may not understand it, and that's not your fault. So I'm not going to go out of my way and try to prove to you that you are incorrect. Here's what I'm going to do. You can try to tell me something that is not true. I'm going to go on my own, and this is what all my friends and I do, because I'm trying to get into a good college, because my high school was not all that great. But I am trying to learn on my own. I'm trying to figure out what is bullshit and what's not.
Yeah, but you got to no. But Matt, I don't think you give yourself enough credit in this. I know you're trying to talk about the specific subject, but as someone who's older than you, when someone has an ideal of how the world works, and then they go, "Oh well, it doesn't actually work that way," that makes you a stronger person. It doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you a very intelligent person. If you grew up in a very dogmatic world, and then you can literally change your mind because of experiences, that makes you a better But I'm going to say this, which is the weirdest thing ever. It makes you a better Christian, actually, than G-Man will ever hope to be.
As you get older,
why that's the case? Because you got more in common with Jesus than G-Man, which is ironic.
As you get older, you want to have your beliefs be justified more. You want to think that your beliefs are what actually are to be the case. Unfortunately, what you do find out as you get older, and as I look into things, the more you start accepting one thing, it starts putting attention on something else. And when you start looking at other things, it puts attention on another thing. It's really hard to have a position very, very set out, saying I am this all across the board. Because if you accept one thing, it puts attention on something else that you've already accepted to be true, and you're like, okay, this one of these has to give. And so it's a complex balancing act of a whole bunch of numerous positions on numerous different types of subjects, right? And the thing to me to be rational is you're always trying to improve upon that.
Exactly.
And when I'm seeing from people like Hyper-Calvinist and other people, they don't want to improve upon that. They think they've already got the perfect epistemological framework. They think they've got the best version of coherent,
that's dangerous.
Of truth, whether they're coherentist or
well, okay, I shouldn't say dangerous, but
no, it is. No, I'm going to argue it is dangerous.
They think they've got the best, and the problem is that they're not constantly challenging themselves.
Well, I mean, Steve,
because they're afraid, Steve. They're afraid to challenge themselves because their world will literally collapse around them.
Because their world cannot accept the fact that they might be wrong unilaterally across the board. They might say, look, my whole Christian framework might fall apart. They're afraid to say that.
Yeah, because that's
right?
their
It's
hell.
going to happen. Look at Apologia.
Yeah,
Apologia, his whole Christian framework fell apart, right?
But that's their hell.
Yeah.
For them, their hell is being wrong. They can't accept the fact that they're human like the rest of us. It's like, oh fuck, if I accept that I'm wrong.
I mean, nobody wants to be wrong, but at the same time, I'd rather be wrong. I don't know. It's weird to explain, but nobody wants to be
Midnight,
wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you. But Midnight, I was dragged out who asked like Ronnie once, "What have you been wrong on?" He couldn't come up with anything.
He said no.
Been wrong on something seriously wrong.
Because here's
the difference. There are people that are more consistently wrong than other people. However, there's nobody that is never wrong.
Yeah. I mean,
the most you can probably get, you never get close to never, but But there are some people that are usually correct or more likely to be correct, right? That is fine. There are people, especially in their field. If I have a question about E. coli, obviously Fiona is more likely to be correct about it than somebody like
me, for instance.
Yeah, like
or me.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, so
that's fine. Somebody else, like that's not a hard thing. It's like I don't go up to somebody who can fucking design an F1 car and go, "Oh, you're wrong," just because I watch it on the telly.
Yeah, Steve, I don't know anything, so don't come to me for anything.
When Ronnie can't think of anything he was wrong on, I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Guys, okay, let me just say this real quick. G-Man is live, and I was just watching some of it.
G-Man is live? What? No,
I don't watch.
No.
Guys, listen. He is
I can't go on if G-Man's not around.
Let Matt talk. Sorry, go ahead.
He is shit talking me. You guys were all here. Hang on, listen.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Listen, all witnesses. I challenged him fairly. I gave him a chance to come in.
Yeah, because he has no balls.
Yeah, he's not going to say yes. You don't know G-Man that well. He's never going to say yes to any challenge. All G-Man will do, G-Man will just make people go to his channel so we can shout and rave.
Right.
I remember the last time he had a debate with Steve, right? Remember that one, Steve? Where he was like, hey, Steve's a fucking atheist. And he was like, where did you get that from? And he was like, you said this. And I was like, but he never said that. Like, everybody in the room was like, no, he never said that. And G-Man is G-Man is an ass clown.
Here's
I will
what
ask
G-Man does.
one of you guys besides Steve, I know Steve will not do it, but if one of you guys can contact him and ask him if I can join in his live stream to talk to him.
No.
I would rather have cancelled than talk to him.
Matt, let me tell you straight out. The worst thing you can do, that's
not a good idea.
I'm telling you, it is not a good idea. I'm not saying don't do it as a command. I'm telling you, it is not beneficial.
It's pointless
to do so.
It's backwards.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just saying this.
Listen to me. I was talking and I hadn't even finished where I was going, and I had 4 people interrupt me. This has got to stop, guys. Stop. Pay attention.
Go ahead.
Listen to me. What G-Man does is he'll come over, listen to our hangout for like a minute or two, get something that he can pick up, that he can run to his channel and go preach to the choir. The 5 people that'll listen to his bullshit.
Yep.
That's it. There's no honest dialogue going on. There's no intelligent discourse. There's no conversation to be had.
This is what.
Okay, my room's always open. He could come in here. He could have, but he chose not to.
Okay, and that just proves
you going over there is just playing right into his hands. That is exactly what he wants you to do.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That proves he's not a man. I gave him a fair challenge. I would have taken.
Well, we already know that. What's the reality? Big secret. Big secret there. Reality. G-Man's a man-child.
Yeah.
Gee, could have told you that 4 years ago.
Don't insult children, for fuck's sake.
Here's the thing. I have belief in all human beings, and I actually tried to believe in this man, trying to prove that maybe he could be a decent person. This just ruined all fucking hope that I had for this guy.
Well, good luck with that shit.
No, but here's the thing. I may be stupid in this, but I believe that every human being has the ability to turn out good. Even if they are 40 or above, they have that chance to turn out as a good.
Hold on, don't get fucking ageist on me, bitch, just because you're fucking 19. Don't get ageist.
It doesn't matter whether they could turn out to be good. G-Man has mental limitations, okay? He just does. He has mental limitations. We've all seen how he engages with people. He can't have a dialogue. He just goes on his little rants and then expects people to cater to him. He shuts down conversation.
Yeah, because he's a fun. I literally, and people might not like this, but I've said this for a long time. People like him are failed suicide bombers. They're not that. They're not that bright to build a bomb, so they just talk shit.
Steve, if I can say this, I respect you a lot, and I'm not trying to kiss your ass. I'm not trying to get in your favor.
But God, I just found out today, so you can work.
Go on, kiss his ass. It might make his fucking throat feel better.
Be lucky.
Ever since I have joined the community, y'all have, except for one person, and he's a dumbass apparently. Anyway, y'all have shown me respect, and I'm not even close to being colleagues with you guys. I have not learned and I have not studied half the shit you guys talk about.
But you're a nice kid. You're a nice kid, man. I mean, I got no beef with you. You come across as a nice kid. You don't have to know a lot about these topics to join in. And I don't want people to think that they have to.
Can I just ask you a question? Mr. Matt, can I ask you a question? Why would you think you would be undeserving of all respect?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to play the oh, woe, me shit. Do not.
But no, he's being humble.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I get it. I get it. But why do you have to be humble? I mean, you're in a community now. Listen, you're in a community now where pretty much everybody's equal across the board as far as the ability to communicate. If they want to, if they so choose to, they have a platform. Some can do it a little more effectively than others, but it's okay. But everybody's given a platform. Everybody has a voice who wants to be heard, can be heard. However, don't step on people. I mean, it's one at a time. I really can't stand when you have 4 people talking at once. It's just a pet peeve of mine.
We need to get you a better internet connection, Steve.
What's that?
We need to get you a better internet connection.
Well, and that's the other problem. You're like Matt. No offense to Matt, but your internet not the greatest. And some other people that's not the greatest, and so I have a hard time hearing. I know the live chat can't, and so I don't know if I'm stepping on somebody. I don't know if they're interrupting me. I don't know if I'm talking over somebody. It sounds like it sometimes, and then I'm like, oh wait, somebody is talking.
But it does overlap. To be honest, I play a lot.
Yes,
I mean, a lot of people do get frustrated, but it does happen. There's a thing called latency on the internet. You can look it up. It's called your ping.
Yeah, we know what latency ping are. No, but I mean, here's the thing. Look at it. I like the word. I mean, I like what you're saying, Matt. Thank you very much. By the way, your words do mean something to me. But here's the thing. I don't treat anybody different for their level, right? I mean, I can talk to Sty or Midnight, and by the way, Midnight knows a lot about math, just as easy as I can with like Kenny. Kenny's got a fucking PhD. Big whoop. No, I don't mean that. I mean, I don't mean that way. He's a very learned person. He studied hard to get that. He earned that title. I respect him for that, right? But if I have a philosophical disagreement with him, we can suss it out. We've had it happen, and we realized that both of us were right kind of thing. It's both of us. Okay, I can look at it your way, from your perspective. It makes sense. from my perspective makes sense. Okay, we've settled it. That's how conversations should go, right?
Well,
I see that with people like this Hyper-Calvinist guy, right? He didn't know much about the topic to even come to an understanding with each other.
Well, can I just say, I think actually what you just raised is important. But what I would say is that it's important for one of these reasons. Is it's about mentality, actually.
Yes.
A lot of people who we communicate with have a mentality where a discussion is not winning a debate. And that's the reason why I hate the great debate community, is because a debate is who wins or who loses, when actually it should be what's actually the best solution to the arguments put forth, right? And that annoys me to fuck, because I witnessed it with the atheist plus thing, and I was just like, this is horrible.
Well, let me explain.
It was just wow.
Is the notion of God. That is what the great debate is.
Mm-hmm.
The great debate community, however, is a
Come on, sorry,
the great debate community is not just about people debating. Debates happen, but we all, at least I think by now, most people understand the debates that we do formally. Like Kenny's going to be doing a debate coming up with Holy Kool-Aid here soon. Holy Kool-Aid's going to be doing with this guy named Geerst, I think is pronounced his name. He's going to be doing Skylar. But these debates are just for exhibition. I don't think anybody thinks that somebody's going to actually put forth to go into a debate and change the other person's mind, although it does happen every so often, obviously with Wayne. But the reality is we go into debates as knowing that it's just for show. Yeah, I think that way.
Well, I would say it differently in only one respect. I respect what you've been actually doing, and I like what you've been doing. But what I would say is, again, it's the mentality of the people you're engaging with. If you expect an intelligent, rational, informative debate with G-Man, I'm sorry, but you're just going to poke yourself in the eye at that point. That's when it becomes entertaining.
Sty, I just wanted to interrupt just for a second. I apologize. The occultation.
Stop.
You have a terrible noise.
Your mic. Oh, that's just killing everybody, dude.
Sorry. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. The occultation is actually tomorrow night and not tonight. I apologize. And yes, you can see it in all of Europe, no problem. And it'll actually be at like 2 a.m. ish for Europe. And in the United States, pretty much everybody east of the Mississippi River will see it at sunset. In fact, I won't even be able to. It'll actually already be behind the moon when the sun sets for me, and I'll only be able to see it pop out the other side. Anybody
Kaiser, can I just say, this room is not for astrophysicists or physicists or whatever, but thank you for your engagement in the fucking moon transition. But this actual conversation is about something more than just the moon. Even though I know you like the moon, dude, I own a telescope, it's fine, but stick to the subject matter.
That's the only reason I came in.
Wait.
I do love you.
What are we supposed to see in the sky?
The fucking moon. It goes past the star. It doesn't matter.
It passes in front of us of a very, very bright star in which it'll disappear and reappear on the other side.
Stars in cities anyway, so no one cares.
I only came in because I realized I made a mistake when I said this before, and I was like, oh crap, everybody's going to be looking for it. I was like, I got to tell everybody.
Trust me, nobody's looking for any fucking shit.
Okay. Yeah.
Only you.
Right.
If I could
Even I'm not, and I've got a fucking telescope.
If I could grab
just relax. This is not astrophysics class.
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know his name, but I do respect you for coming in and correcting that. But I've been wanting to say something. So you guys asked me why I think the way I do, and it's not to put myself down. It's not to make myself look weak. It's just that with my ADHD, sometimes learning stuff is actually hard. But when I came in this community, there was you and I, Steve, on the last Roman Cook night, we had a very good conversation. And I was actually talking to somebody about the conversation you and I had about how people use dark humor to make themselves feel better. And that was a very big learning point for me because, I understand now why some people think like some tragedies are funny instead of being an asshole and telling them that they're wrong, because that's what I was doing. So I learned from my mistake, and what I'm saying, like,
that's a hard concept to get too. I'm glad that you picked up on that. A lot of people don't. When I talk about that, few people don't get that. They don't understand what I mean by that, and they don't understand dark humor is therapeutic for certain people, and that's why when people get really butthurt really quickly, they take things offensively when they're not looking at the much bigger picture.
Like
yeah, and that's one of the things that I've learned from this community is just because someone else thinks differently doesn't mean I should get hurt or offended by it. And one of the things that I appreciate just in these hangouts or in these videos is that a whole bunch of things open up to me and I can actually grasp them because you guys aren't talking in a level that I can't understand. You break it down, and if you say some stuff that is really complicated for me, I can look that up and go, or I could Google it, or I could find a textbook and it's going to explain to me what you guys are talking about. In college, I couldn't do that. Like, I'm just going to be real. I cannot do that in college because they teach different ways, and I am not a cookie cutter person.
Can I just, hey Matt, I'm just going to say this. It's up to you it's up to the individual what they want to be, right? And you've obviously gone through an experience, and it's great that Steve and maybe other people have helped you expand your horizons, but it's always up to the person themselves to want to expand their horizons. If you want to be, set in your ways or narrowed-minded or whatever, you're never going to change anyway, right? And that's the good thing about being wrong, is without being wrong, you don't know that you're wrong.
But here's we have 1,100 members. We have 1,100 members in the GDC, and I'm obviously not all are active, but we have a lot of active people. We're bringing the GDC around the world. We're bringing people that would normally have no ability to reach out and get information in real time with expertise, or even lay people that know stuff, or just learn anything in a fashion. I mean, here, like for example, you want to know something about theology, there you go. Ask Kenny a question. He'll tell you anything you want about Scripture, right? You have an expert theologian at your fingertips right this second. Boom, right? And if Fiona's in here, boom, biology. These things are real-time interactions. And here's what I've noticed the most. The GDC that have these communications and have these discussions and get involved, they all have upped their game so much from when they first got here. Every single one of them. Now, go look at the CCP.
Not me.
Go look at what?
I've always
go
had
look at
the Don't include me.
I hate having to repeat myself. My voice is shot. Go look at the Clown Car Posse, because the Clown Car Posse, G-Man hasn't learned a goddamn fucking thing in years.
Yep.
In years, he hasn't learned one single solitary thing that I can point to.
That's because they're stuck in the ways, though, and that's what I'm saying. Like this little Matt kid, he's just trying though.
No,
that seems like standard fundy behavior, man. I see that from Darth Dawkins. I see that from Christian Hillbilly. I mean, they've been going.
They never learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
They don't want to learn. That's the point. They don't want to expand their horizon.
I can at this point. I think G-Man is limited. I could be wrong, but I think he can't learn certain things.
Well,
I think he doesn't want to. It's not that
it doesn't matter. If he wanted to, I don't think he could.
No, he just literally doesn't want to. These guys, the reason why they're fundamentalists in the way they are is because they're fundamentally against changing their narrative of how the world works.
Yeah, I really G-Man. He doesn't want to learn it.
Okay, you guys again walking over each other. Matt, your mic is really bad, so I'm gonna have to call on you because people just step on you because nobody can hear you, Matt.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Your mic is way low. Yada was talking. I could barely hear Matt. So Yada, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, if I could say something to you, Steve, I mean, I just want to take it back to your conversation with HC. And let me just ask you this. I noticed that when the conversation started, you very quickly went to that you weren't going to make any, give any empirical evidence or rationality, that, you were basically going to base it on logic. And then you found out that he doesn't understand logic at all. I mean, and I'm just saying that as a person that doesn't really understand the finer points of that, but I got that. I know you can't really talk to a Calvinist about empirical evidence because they have this annoying argument against it. So I wonder if you were aware that that you were giving him that you weren't going to get into that argument, and because you actually were hoping to get to young Earth creation.
Right. I was trying to do young Earth creation, right? I knew he was a precept, but when he said, "Look, there's no amount of evidence that'll ever change my mind on young Earth, no empirical evidence." Okay, at that point, my conversation is pretty well done.
Yeah.
But what are you supposed
At
to
that
say?
point, I'm just spinning my wheels, and it's not really worth my time even to have a conversation. I should have shut that down right then, but too many people watching and it was entertainment. But normally, if I'm having a conversation with somebody and I find they are irrational to the point where I cannot even have a meaningful conversation with them. For example, Yad, if you say, "Hey, I don't have any beliefs. I don't believe anything," I'm at that point, I don't want to have a conversation with you anymore. I think you're just a complete idiot, right?
What a liar.
Or
no, I think I actually believe this.
Talk about the logic.
If you have such a poor epistemic framework that you don't even understand concepts like belief, right? I don't even want to have those types of discussions because we're starting at such a level that I don't even want to go to, right? And so when I hear somebody say things like, "Oh, the laws of logic," and all of a sudden they think they're the preeminent, thing that prove God in some kind of weird transcendental argument.
But there is no technical laws of logic, and this is the irony of it all. Because
right, if not even just say that, he didn't realize the principle of sufficient reason is some
Wait. Hang on. What was he going to say about the laws of logic? They're not technically laws. What?
What I'm saying is, right, exactly right. The principle, there is no laws of logic. Like we say that in regards to how they are implemented, right? But there is no like 10 commandments, X equals.
But Sty, did you realize? Did you hear him say though that no amount of empirical evidence would change his mind? Now, if I asked Kenny is an old Earth creationist, and I said, "Kenny, I'm going to give you overwhelming evidence that the Earth is young," he would be rational to say, "Okay, if you give me overwhelming evidence to show me the Earth is young, I'll believe the Earth is young." That is actually rational, believe it or not.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got different types. No, but hold on, Steve. And this
I would.
It's about the mentality you're dealing with. It's bizarre.
It keeps getting into Sty. Sty, can you let somebody else kind of have the football for a second? I purposely brought him into the conversation.
Was that
he
unmuted
to say something?
Is that you, Kenny, the immortal? Who? Oh, Lilo Ken. Okay, I'll shut up.
My name's Dan. I don't think I heard your question, but
no, I was talking about Kenny. Kylo.
But he didn't speak. He's still on mute. I don't know.
You opened up his mic to say something, and then you started talking.
I apologize. I'm sorry, Kenny. Like I said, it is sometimes live, so I do honestly apologize.
I just hold tight.
I'll just.
Kenny, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so have you agreed with me or disagreed with me on the fact that if somebody presents overwhelming evidence, you'd be rational to look at it and evaluate your position based upon it, would you not?
Absolutely. It's kind of the whole thing. Anthony flew. You gotta go where the evidence leads, and I find that with some of these guys, I think it was Winston Churchill that said, the greatest obstacle to truth is the assumption that you already have it, and I think that's a large problem within the Christian community, that we don't allow ourselves, I believe there's no doubt that I have found the truth in the greater sense, but to think that my thoughts can't be adjusted and there could be major questions that I can, have a different understanding of. My wife kind of laughs at me because she says, "You're always changing your mind." And I tell her, "No, honey, I'm always researching and I'm always open to the fact that I just could be wrong about a particular issue."
Let me ask you two things. One, did you watch the discussion with Hyper-Calvinist?
No, I only heard maybe 10 minutes of it, and then I had to do something.
Okay, well, he's a young earther. He's a flat earther.
Oh my.
Okay. So he's the trifecta of crazy: conspiracy, flat Earth, young Earth creationist.
Wow,
all of my nerds. So,
well, I mean,
go ahead.
Honestly, if you want to take Genesis literally, man, I think this guy's being consistent with himself.
I never claimed he wasn't being consistent. Now, remember, nowhere in that argument did I ever say he was inconsistent in terms of.
Yeah, but here's the thing: I take Genesis literally. And I don't think you're locked into a young Earth position. you've got some very interesting things in the text there.
So when it comes to like evidential and formulating beliefs, right? As a Christian, if God wanted you to have certain knowledge, he would give you certain knowledge, right? And honestly, if you had certain knowledge, wouldn't you be held to a much greater, higher expectation than somebody who just believes as a Christian?
Oh, I think there's certainly a sense that you're responsible for what you know, most definitely. But the scripture does say that it's, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it's the honor or the prerogative of God to hide things, and the privilege of his people to seek them out. So the fact that some things are a bit hidden doesn't surprise me about creation, because the whole endeavor of seeking things out and the joy of learning and discovery is something that we're built for. So I just kind of had to throw that in, because I think there are things that are more subtle about life, and it's a reward to find those things. And I don't think without the hard work you're going to find some of the answers to issues in life and reality. That's
no,
my
I agree
belief,
with you.
yeah.
There's hard work. Yeah, there's hard work there. There's no question about it. And what's amazing, and of course I don't fully agree with them, but I do expect the process. When it comes to like reasons to believe, and the scholars that are with reasons to believe, like yourself, they'll always, actually really being challenged. And I don't mean that superficially. They want people to challenge them to shore up their own arguments. That to me is respectable. You don't see that with young earth creationists.
Right.
You don't see it with flat earthers. They'll assert, but they don't want somebody with real knowledge coming in and poking holes in their ideological beliefs, because then we'll shit all over them, right? But I've noticed with the RTB, they want people to try to poke holes, and they'll go, okay, if they haven't figured that out yet, they're going to do some research on it. Fuzrana did that twice already. I had 2 things posted on my Facebook, which you probably saw. I asked him questions about it. He wasn't even familiar with one of them, but he looked into it, and he did a Monday show on it. That's respectable.
Yeah, those guys are
I don't
great.
fully agree with them, but I respect them for that.
Yeah, it's amazing and that's what's great about being a part of a bigger organization where the objective is truth. It's not self-deception, but it's about really coming to know the truth. And so, we're not afraid to be challenged. I think one of the more interesting challenges was when we found out that the human genome had about 4% Neanderthal DNA. That was a hard one to deal with.
That's why I think theistic evolutionists I think they don't have to worry about it as much as the older creationists.
Right.
Yeah. Do you know a guy named Dr. Gary? I think his last name is pronounced Lachey or something.
No, not off the top of my head.
He had some stuff on RTB before. He's written for Talk Origins, or his papers on Talk Origin, on the helium diffusion rates.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he loves RTB. He was featured with RTB. But I had reached out to him on helium diffusion rates, along with the Dr. Henke, who also his papers are on Talk Origin. And Gary Linke I can't pronounce his last name. I hope I'm not butchering. It's French, but he's a Christian. Dr. Henke is not, but they're agreed to come on sometime end of November. And we're gonna have a conversation on that. But he actually contacted Anastasia from Reasons to Believe, their secretary, and I guess she gave a glowing recommendation. Because I told him, I said, because he was like concerned. He's like, I don't want to go on your channel. It's going to be to bash Christians. I said, no, you don't have to worry about that. I'm like, and I showed him videos, and I said, look, we have Hugh Ross come on, we have Fuzrana come on, we have you come on. We're not going to sit there and bash on Christians. That's not what my channel's set up to do. I'm not a Christian basher.
Can I just interrupt one moment and just ask what's old earth creationism?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Isn't it still creationism?
Are you asking me or Kenny?
Well, both. I mean, whichever one wants to answer. I'm just asking the question.
Your theistic evolution basically is a belief that God put everything in motion, right? And we ended up as we are now. and there could have been some guidance in it, but basically he left it alone. And he knew how it was either, well, one argument is he knew how we were going to end up billions of years later, and the other one would be, you know, he just let me finish. But the old Earth creationists, they believe that man's evolution was somehow not only guided by God, but God instilled them with a soul at a certain point.
Would that be like the Jesus point or something? Or?
Well, no,
I'm trying to because the reason why I only ask this because it's like the only religion we talk about in the great debate community is Christianity. I think that's a bit.
That's not true.
Well, it is, but
no, there's people that talk about Muslims. I was talking about Muslim 2 weeks ago on the Gin and Tonic show.
Yeah, but Muslims and Christians aren't the only fucking religion on the planet.
Well, no, we need some more Jews. Damn it, my people need to be represented.
But that
what do we got? Sam and I were the only two Jews.
Hold on, that would still technically be the same fucking religion. The last time I checked, aren't they both the same?
No, Judaism and Christianity are not the same religion.
And what about Islam?
Islam's not the same as religion either.
Okay, so why is Jesus in the fucking Quran?
Because he's a prophet, not a god. No, or the son of God.
They're all Abrahamic.
They're all Abrahamic. Yeah, they're all Abrahamic.
No, but that's
they're different. Yeah, they're different.
It's like, why don't we get like somebody from a different part of the planet who literally thinks that Jesus and all that shit is nonsensical?
Well, I'd love to get him,
like a Native American bit.
We have Odin. We have Odin worshippers. We got Odin. We got Ocean.
Yeah, there's no shortage of people that hold different views.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, look, hold on.
You know why? Okay, here's the reason. Here's the reason. I hate to say this is probably the truth. The reason being is why most of us are English speakers, and most of the predominant English speakers of the world have an Abrahamic faith.
Yes. Okay, I understand that. Right.
That's probably the reason.
Yes, I understand that to be the case, but I would still like, if you're going to talk about a great debate, then you can't debate.
Nobody's stopping them from joining.
Hold on, I'm just saying a philosophical question about does God exist or not would require a bit more input from other religions, I would say.
Okay,
to be at least great debate.
No,
instead of being a one-sided debate.
Sty, you're not listening. The great debate could be any god.
Yes, that's the point.
All it takes for the great debate is one god of your choice to exist. That'd be a theist position.
Yeah, well, it's
doesn't have to be Abraham God. It could be
fine. That's the great debate.
Your god. That would be theism.
Yes, but I would like you to maybe, put your little tentacles out to other religions, if that's okay. I mean, I'm not saying I understand what you're saying in the sense that
we have 1,000 people in the community. Somebody could go fish. I bring in enough people, okay? I mean, oh my God!
Hold on. Hey, I'm not shitting on your doorstep or anything like that. Just relax. I'm just saying, it's like I think it'd be interesting to get like Native Americans, maybe Hindus.
I can get some porn stars in here. You want that, Sty?
I'd like some porn stars.
Yeah, I figured you would.
I would like because I think it applies to all religions, if not.
No, I actually was going to invite one, but I know her, or I've had her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend in here before.
Oh, okay.
Now, here's an issue that would happen if you had a Hindu in here. He would ask the question, do you believe in God? He would say yes. You could ask the question again. He would say no. You could ask him again, and he'd say, I believe God exists, and he doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's actually problematic. I get your point. Yes.
How does that actually work?
Well, it's just
actually, Hindus. Yolo, you know that, right?
Yeah, it's a good joke.
No, I don't.
Someone fucking tell him then, so we get the joke. Steve, Ken, do you want to tell him why it's a good joke? Ken, come on, tell him why it's a good joke.
You're making fun of Hindus?
No,
I'm not making fun of Hindus. That's exactly what they've said. One of the leading Hindu scholars says that we have opened ourselves so much to pluralism that if we ever close our arms back up, we'll choke ourselves because we have basically assented to everything is right and everything is wrong.
Yeah, that's they're willing to accept like pretty much anything. So
Yeah, they're not known for being logical, you know.
Yeah, they're not very specific in their beliefs either.
Well, you don't. That's the inside point. I was saying this before. You don't need to be logical to have a belief, or to explain the belief is logical. A belief itself inherently is not logical. It's an axiomatic proposition. Yes, that is logical, but the equation itself is not logical by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh God! By the way, when Sai starts talking like this, I'm just like, oh God, just kill me now. Sai, you need to stop doing that. Trust me.
No, it's
you just throw words together, hoping they make sense, and they don't make sense together.
Well, look, if you're applying X to anything, that's an axiomatic position. If you're assuming X is true from the get-go, then you need to validate it. And religion doesn't validate shit. Last time I checked, especially in mathematics.
You can be. I think the word you're looking for is justified. You could have a theological belief and be justified in holding it.
Yes, but that would be Aristotle. That's Aristotelian logic. That's not what I'm talking about. That mathematical logic ain't the same shit. If I said to my computer, justify one or zero, my computer would just stand there still.
Yada's about ready to blow his brains out right now. We don't want that to happen.
Tell us more about Aristotle. Yeah.
Well, his logic was, it still applies in certain circumstances, but not with computers. That's a fact. We don't use Aristotelian logic in computers, or your computer wouldn't turn on.
Okay.
A computer cannot be a non-computer.
A computer is not a non-computer.
No, your computer wouldn't exist. Well, it wouldn't turn on because there's no formality in computer programming.
People overrate what logic is for. Logic is just as a tool.
Yes, it is. But it has to be coherent. And when you apply philosophical logic to a computer, your computer would tell you to go fuck itself.
You're talking about Boolean.
Yes, but I mean, but that's what I'm saying. The laws of logic are just that.
But here's the thing: your type of logic that you're used to is and, exclusive, or, nor, gate. You're talking about gates. That's logic.
Only because I'm used to coding shit. So I try to use it that way. I'm not trying to disregard the other. What we call classical.
Logic, just Boolean logic. You do recognize that, right?
Yes, but I'm not trying to disregard classical logic either. That's what I just said. It's still relative what Aristotle was trying to say. I'm not trying to disprove that notion, but in how practicality works, if you're going to be like, X
I think Aristotelian logic was just free logic to me. He was
all computers. All computers are computers.
Unless a computer is made by a human, which makes them not all computers.
All lamps are lamps.
But all interpretations are.
How many tautologies can we come up with in a minute?
As many as one can handle. I don't know. What the point is that
some scientists use water for their aqueous solutions. That is a true statement.
How do you define water?
What is chair? What is lamp?
Descriptors.
Coffee Stug, don't you stub this down because of sty.
No, that's linguistics, actually. That's not my fault. Blame Noam Chomsky. That's not my fault.
Coffee Smug, he thumbed us down because of sty. that really hurts.
Fuck you, Coffee. Hate that.
You need to put it through a linguistic thing. That's all.
I actually like linguistics. I think if you don't understand linguistics, you won't understand how logic's applied.
So I
only recently
realize that literally nobody understands half the shit you say.
Yeah.
Well, probably half the people are not me.
Conservative.
I'd be fucking.
That's what Sty is famous for.
Yeah.
I'm famous for ripping people like fucking Shamus in the asshole.
Oh, Shamus! I tell you, Sty, I like you, Sty. You know I do. I mean,
hello, Shamus.
Nothing personal with you whatsoever. I like Sty. He just doesn't make sense, but I will tell you this. Seamus will destroy you ever in a one-on-one on anything.
Really?
I guarantee it. Yeah, I do believe
doubt
that.
You know,
really
before
do
you
believe that.
before you ever joined, you
And that doesn't mean Seamus is right. Okay, let me qualify this. Doesn't mean Seamus is right, but Seamus knows how to argue. He knows how to have a good dialogue.
He knows how to think. He knows how to argue. You know what? I like Seamus. I like him. He got drunk a lot once upon a time.
People are asking who Ken is. Ken is Dr. Kenny Rhodes, theologian.
He's an actual doctor.
He's an actual,
not a fake one.
Doctor. Yeah, he actually went to school and everything. He opened a book.
Read one, and then actually now he's probably going to make his own.
Kenny, I liked your post about time travel.
Yeah, some guys were taking it a little too serious.
we're gonna be doing that. Kenny actually messaged me the day I think on that. Yeah, we're going to be doing that probably next week or so. I want to brush up a little bit on it, but I don't mind talking about time travel and stuff like that because I used to read a lot of Paul Davies, and I understand various mechanisms to have theoretical time travel. But my thing is, I don't believe in time travel.
No, time travel is possible because Einstein said so.
I believe in time travel.
No,
we are all traveling.
Well, you can do both. You can do both. You see, because time itself is only the measurement of momentum, right?
I'll tell you guys a secret.
No, it's not. Time is not the measurement of momentum.
It is. Listen,
hang on.
Equations. Hold on, dude. Listen. Okay, you can bash me, Steve. I don't mind. You can bash me on this, right?
Well, how about I just correct you?
According to Einstein, the only thing, and we know this actually because we put atomic clocks up. Well, just let me explain. We put an atomic clock above the planet, right?
God, it hurts.
And time dilation is real, right? And time dilation is based on
that's not backward time, Stein. Time dilation is slow down.
But if you
okay, let me explain it, Stein. Let me explain it before you go any further because I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. Time is not measurement
it's not me. Fucking have this conversation.
Shut up. Thank you. Time is not a measurement of displacement or movement or momentum. It is entropy.
No, it's not entropy. Fucking fool. Entropy is the distribution.
Okay. Does anybody want to disagree on this? I guarantee.
Just stop. No, just stop.
I have a simple point to make, and it's the fact that you're all time travelers.
Okay.
I am a time traveler. You know, I do it in my sleep. It takes no effort for me to time travel. Let me hide you from broadcast.
Okay, let me hide you from broadcast because Sty, I'm not going to let you get away with this. I'm explaining this to you, then you could come back and give me evidence against it. Time's arrow is in physics a measurement by which two entropic states are compared from lower concentration to a higher concentration of entropy. That is what is defined to be in physics. Now, if you want to disagree with that, fine. Show me the evidence of what's disagreeing with that. Go ahead.
Einstein said.
I'm trying to show him. So let me show him.
Steve, you are aware
Let
that.
me show him.
Yeah, well, he's hidden from broadcast.
Yeah, I was trying to show him. Okay, so show me physics.
Hold on.
Show me a physics reference. What I just said was wrong.
Well, it's not Rush, and I ain't trolling, but just hold on a second.
You guys have all time traveled throughout this conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
I've always come to this boat.
Guy needs another beer. Let him grab another beer.
Oh shit, Tom, this is all your fault.
Yeah, it's always my fault.
I'm gonna blame you for everything.
Oh my God. But Steve, you would agree.
So what I'm gonna do? Hey, Anton, I gotta get some more coffee. I mean whiskey. So Stein, you know about physics, so I will trust your judgment. By the way, Stein needs to disapprove what I just said. Now you know what I just said is true because you're not an idiot and you understand physics. Stein needs to come up with a reference.
I would slightly disagree with you.
You know your shit. I don't know why you keep saying you don't. I know that you do. I hate people that are so humble where it's like, look, I know your level that you're at. You have a very good understanding of physics concepts. Very good.
I'm allowed to speak now.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
so the other thing
go ahead.
Ask me in the live chat about electrons going backwards in time. Actually, it's positrons. Here's the thing. According to a Feynman diagram, on the Planck level, when you have a pair production produced, whether it be a virtual pair production or you have electron-positron pair production. One particle is seen going forward in time, the other particle is going backwards in time. However, it's only on the Planck scale. So quickly that we can never actually measure it. So it's pretty much indiscernible. So on that level, yes, you could be thought of going backwards in time. That is not the same to say that a macroscopic being can go backwards in time. So when I'm saying that you cannot go backwards in time, I'm talking about us.
Didn't Feynman said that you could describe positrons as electrons traveling backwards in time? Right?
Yes, that's what I just said.
Okay, look. All right. I'm not... Okay, that's a bit like facetious before. Like, theoretically...
I'm getting my whiskey. You played a tom-tom why I was wrong, because I was not. Trust me.
Well,
what the hell do I know? I only went to school for this shit.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought that... I wouldn't have said that you are wrong, Steve. I would just say that from the quantum mechanical point of view,
you're wrong.
Things you're wrong. No. If happenings, events are in principle time reversible.
Yes, it is.
Right.
But it requires
a shit ton of energy. In the macroscopic world, we see of entropy, we see an arrow of time pointing only in one direction. So they are not time reversible.
But entropy is only the transferable energy that we understand in all physics, which is weird. I'm not going to say like we know it to be the case, but theoretically you can go backwards in time if you spin around a black hole quick enough with enough energy. You could literally go back to your own planet because of gravity and all that shit, and you could basically get there before you left.
Because you can think it's possible. That's you don't have a reason for thinking it's possible, though.
No, I'm not trying to say that. Okay, well maybe I am because it's thinkable, so therefore it is possible. Well, I think therefore I am. It's kind of like the irony of it. But if you look at what Einstein said, right, and Einstein proposed himself, sadly, that black holes were impossible, even though it was in his fucking equation, right? But we know black holes exist. We've seen them in the cosmos. We can literally detect black holes and gravitational waves. Einstein didn't accept black holes, even though it was in general relativity.
I think you might have a few details wrong there.
Well,
I'm pretty sure I don't, because I'm pretty sure you fucking watch on any YouTube video with Neil deGrasse Tyson or anybody fucking else who knows physics.
Einstein wasn't happy that his theory predicted black holes, but that was mathematically the correct prediction. If you follow the math, black holes exist.
Yeah,
and
he got it wrong.
He didn't like it.
Yeah, he got it wrong by a decimal point. If you look at his equation, the problem was, well, how do you figure that out? Well, it was the decimal point in between that pointed out that black holes are there. It was Feynman who said, oh, well, this is crazy. Black holes. And he was like, nah, I didn't say that at all. And it said, well, if you follow your calculations, it does. Now, getting back to the time travel thing, what is time? Time is a measurement of motion, right? You can't have time without motion. So how do we understand motion? We understand motion by the laws of gravity. It's a bit wiki and wacky. I agree. I'm not telling you I'm a physicist or anything, but from what I understand, backwards and forwards makes perfect sense in the universe.
Yeah, can you give us a reason why you think motion is emerging, an emergent property?
Because there's nothing in the universe that's static at all. Nothing. Zero. Everything in the universe has a fluctuation. Everything. Now, how that works when it comes to time travel, the only way I understand it in layman's terms, like I said, I'm not a fucking physicist or whatever, is that if you can go forwards with gravity, and we can explain that because someone won a Nobel Prize by putting an atomic clock in space, then why not backwards?
Oh my goodness.
I'm just saying. Back. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just saying is people
decide show that I was wrong.
But we did with planes. So yeah.
But
I decide humans are the pinnacle of the universe.
Why would you be able,
quite frankly?
why would you be able to go backwards in time? That doesn't follow.
The very fact that you exist is a bit mind-boggling, but okay. Show me why
Did I show that my hero of time was wrong? My definition of time?
Well, I can go backwards in time. I can talk to an American in the United States who's backwards in time.
Tom, let me ask you, did he show me to be wrong?
I don't think you're wrong, Steve, but I think it might be incomplete.
Yeah. Well,
Steve was making a point, and I'm not disagreeing with what Steve's point is according to our known physics. But all I'm saying is, if you look at theoretical physics, like neutrons, apparently these things, well, not called actually neutrons, but even though they've been classed as, they're actually called tachyons, which are theoretically in physics that can go faster than speed. They're actually theoretically possible, but we've never found these little fuckers.
Yeah, first of all, tachyons are theoretical only, and tachyons can never
theoretical.
Be slower than C.
Yeah, and so was a boson.
No, bosons are more than theoretical.
Was a boson a theoretical particle? Yes or no? Or did the guy win a Nobel Prize for theoretical?
Yeah, no, they're all theoretical.
So a theoretical proposal is only a mathematical equation.
But I mean, there's good reasons to believe in bosons, right? I mean, it's not like they've been directly observed, but they've been inferred.
Tachyons are not required to be existent, right? They're not something with the gauge theory is dependent upon them existing or not.
Can I ask a question?
No, it did. It required a theoretical proposal.
It doesn't. A gauge boson, or a Higgs boson, or intermediate vector bosons are contingent upon the SU3 theory, right?
The only found boson
are not
in a paper written by the guy who said, in order for the universe to be the way it is, requires a theoretical particle that doesn't exist, right? It's theoretical. He's only proposing a mechanism for how the universe makes sense. Then we found the birth pangs of these things, and actually it was fucking ironic because when we went and found the Higgs boson, there was fuck tons of them. Hence what you just said, Gauge boson and other bosons. There was more than one.
Okay, but the Higgs boson is predicted.
It was a theoretical.
God damn it, Stizer! You interrupt me one more time, you're done. I really have no voice right now, and I'm tired of saying the same thing 5 fucking times because you don't shut the fuck up. Enough. Well, I don't care. You think I'm wrong? That's fine, but you got to shut the fuck up and let people speak, because all you're doing is when somebody speaks, you start talking again. Enough. Now, a tachyon is theoretical, but only in certain types of physics that say it's possible. Okay, but unlike a particle that was predicted, something like a neutrino, because they discovered missing mass, missing energy in a type of decay, they had theorized something has to be carrying this away. There has to be a particle.
Can I ask a question?
Carrying it away. That's why they found the neutrino. There's nothing missing where they have to have a tachyon to explain a phenomenon. Do you see the difference?
You missed the point. Continue.
How am I missing the point? Do you understand a predictive model by which they observe something and say, this is the observation we're making, this is the explanation for it? For example, extraneous gravitational anomalies. They theorize dark matter. There's something that's causing the gravitational force, a particle that's causing this, right? That's why they're theorizing this. There's nothing we observe by which we need to account for a tachyon.
You don't need to observe.
Do you not understand the difference in the two types of things going on for theoretical physics?
I'm pretty sure that observational physics ain't the same as theoretical physics. Just so you know.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They're not the same thing.
Can I ask a question?
No shit, Stizer. You make my brain hurt, man.
Did I just say anything incorrect, though? No.
No, but it's kind of no shit. It had nothing to do with what I was saying.
Yeah.
You basically said, sky's blue. Okay, great. We already knew that.
Yeah.
But the sky isn't blue.
It's a deepity, you know, because you thought it was deep.
And I realize
it's the fact that I've just pointed out to
the reason I get upset at Sty is because Sty does this a lot, and he promised me last time that he would stop doing this. And he even says he goes out of his way to do this. He's even told me this.
Dude,
so I hold Sty in a little bit different position. When I thought that he would stop,
you're fucking wrong.
I thought he would stop doing this because I told him last time, stop being like this. And he said, I do it on purpose. He doesn't know shit about these topics. He keeps on saying he doesn't know shit about these topics, and yet he's trying to pontificate on these topics. Enough. I don't like this type of trolling. I won't deal with it anymore, Stizer. We have okay?
Prove the fact that
Stop trolling.
That's fine.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, and I can very easily prove that you're wrong. There you go. Bye-bye. You're wrong.
May I ask a question?
I have no time for that kind of trolling, guys. I just don't. I mean, I like Sty a lot, but he just derails a fucking conversation. So it's just sometimes you just got to kick him out. I mean, it's just. I could be wrong. Show me that I'm wrong. I'll be happy to be pointing I'm wrong, but don't fucking go on doot. Anyways, Matt, go ahead.
I am really, really lost right now. Can you explain what a tachyon is and some of the other stuff that you were talking about?
A tachyon is a hypothetical particle that travels instantaneous velocities, and as you add energy to it, it slows down. And the more energy you add into it, the more it slows down. To the lower limit is c. So in other words, as a tardon, which is a particle that is slower than speed light, as you add energy to it, it goes faster and faster, but doesn't ever reach c, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of particles, we can never ever go faster than speed light or at the speed of light, right? But a tachyon is the opposite. It's always on the other side of that asymptotic boundary. That asymptote. It just forms an asymptote that goes near the boundary towards c, but it never actually crosses c or even reaches c. So because you have to put in an infinite amount of energy to slow it down. So it's the opposite. So instead of giving it energy to speed it up like you would a regular particle, you have to give energy to it to slow it down.
So you said that
that's what a tachyon is.
You said a tachyon is theoretical.
Yeah, it's theoretical, right? It can exist. But my point to Sty, which he was missing, is that there's nothing we observe that we require a tachyon to explain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That I'm aware of. Now, if there is, that's fine. But if there is, he could have told me that. And I would have been shit. Okay, that's great. I learned something. Might be. But to my knowledge, there is nothing out there that a tachyon can explain. It is allowed for. That's the same as explaining something, right? As an explanation.
So what I've read upon time travel, and I know you guys probably already know this, they've never definitively say it is impossible. We just do not have the capability of doing it as of right now.
Impossible what? What's not impossible?
Like what I've heard and what I've observed is like they've never told, like science has never proven it's very impossible to go back in time.
No, that's true, right? That's a belief that I have, right? We've never demonstrated with certainty we can't go back in time. I think the general consensus now is that most scientists, the last time I've looked into this, most scientists say that it is not possible, or at least they don't believe it.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't think that we have the capability of doing it right now. No, not to say like in the future that we couldn't do it. But I'm not going to say that you're wrong, Steve, because I don't personally know a whole lot about this. I'd like to study about it because I think time travel would be kind of cool. But there would also be very bad consequences, including the butterfly effect. So in a way, I think that it would be kind of destructive if we were able to.
I mean,
yeah. Well, see, I know the different theories of time travel, but the problem is, you're still violating entropic laws, and there's a couple of different ways that theoretically to go backwards in time could happen, but it would require a type 5 civilization. Mm-hmm. You'd have to be able to move black holes around or galaxies around. It's really not something that's practical. Yeah. And even then it's completely theoretical, but I don't think that just because something's theoretical means it matches to reality.
My question
I mean, does the tachyon model make predictions of what we should observe if they exist?
There are some, tachyons as you add energy to it, like I said, they should interact with certain other particles, from what I understand. Yeah. But I don't know what.
And they haven't found that.
Yeah.
What's an entropic?
What's entropic means entropy, relating to entropy. See, right now, do you know what CERN does? Do you know what these particle colliders do? Like the early days, when I was growing up, they had very basic, what called atom smashers. They were cyclotrons or synchrocyclotrons or linear accelerators. And what they would do is they accelerate particles and they'd smash them together. Mm-hmm. At higher energies, the particles would break up into different particles. They called it the particle zoo. Okay, I mean, there was literally people were coming out every day with a new particle. I mean, it was like no big deal anymore. It's like, oh, look, we found this particle. Oh, we found this J something. We found this mu meson. This new. I mean, we found all these different particles. And at higher levels, certain particles are said to theoretically exist based upon the model that we predict them to be.
Yeah,
that's not what. But a tachyon is not something that we expect to see if we break apart an atom, right, or a nucleon. We don't expect to see those types of things.
But don't we see an explosion when we break apart an atom?
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends, right? I mean, when we break apart a atom that can undergo fission, right? What happens is, like, for example, uranium-235 is fissionable. So it likes what's called a slow thermal neutron. And what happens is a neutron comes in, it's absorbed. That resulting isotope becomes very unstable. And it rapidly disintegrates into what's called fission fragments and 2 to 3 other neutrons. The average is 2.4, right? The energy that's actually released is decent. I think it's somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 241 mega electron volts per reaction, something like that. It's been a while. But where the energy actually mostly comes from, you'd be surprised. People don't think about this. The most amount of energy we extract from fission is from the fission fragments after the disintegration. Because those fission fragments, whether they're samarium or technetium or xenon or promethium, those are vibrating very quickly. Okay, because they just had an impact. They just shattered an atom. So these fission fragments are vibrating until they settle down. Well, what happens when you have vibration? What does that cause? If I take my hand and I rub it on something, what does it make?
Like
Friction.
Friction. It makes heat. So we extract that heat by the water, which would be the moderator, which actually does twofold things. It slows down the neutrons, so it thermalizes them, so the uranium-235 is more likely to be a better target to the nucleon. It's called a target ratio or Barn ratio. And it also removes the heat from those fission fragments. That's where the energy is coming from. The energy that released initially is in the form of gamma rays, right? And gamma rays don't always, get deposited in something. The energy's not always deposited inside the reactor. It could be actually released somewhere else. We want the energy released from those fission fragments in the form of the vibration. That's something that a lot of people who don't study nuclear physics don't really think about that often. They think the energy is released from that nucleus breaking apart, and you have those gamma rays going off. Well, yeah, but that's not the energy we're really extracting, that we're utilizing. It's the energy of the fission fragments.
So I have a question.
I did actually learn something at New School, believe it or not.
I'm learning a lot, to be honest. But I do have another question, and it does pertain to the topic of time travel. Because I'm not, like I told you guys, I haven't studied a whole lot of this stuff. But have they proven that it is actually impossible to go through if a wormhole existed?
No. Do you want the most current data on this?
Yeah, like I just want to know more about it.
If you go to Leonard Susskind's videos or books, Leonard Susskind actually talks about this quite frequently. The way the model actually works now is that two black holes that are entangled can have an EPR bridge formed between their singularities, the Einstein-Pulaski-Rosen bridge. Okay, this is a quantum entanglement that allows instantaneous communication or travel from one entangled black hole singularity to the other. However, based upon the model, the only thing that can go through it would be something about the size of a photon, and after that goes through, the wormhole collapses.
So if we try to go through, we would die instantly.
It wouldn't work. Right. Nature has a way of screwing us. Matter of fact, back in the 70s and 80s, there was something called a naked singularity, they called it. And a naked singularity was a singularity that didn't have an event horizon. And it was said that nature abhorred this. Nature never wants to have a naked singularity. But they're theorizing that it was possible. Just like nature abhors a vacuum, right? We can't have a perfect vacuum. There's certain things that nature doesn't like to have. A naked singularity is one of them. Although it is possible.
I just think
and so nature screws us. A naked singularity would allow us to do time travel, or at least jumping from one place to another. In theory, if you have there's different types of black holes, right? There's there's Nordstrom, there's all different kinds, and that's based upon three different factors. You have charge, you have angular momentum, and you have mass, or your moment. So mass, momentum, and angular. Mass, angular diameter, and charge. Okay. Now, certain combinations of these, the singularity can actually form what's called a toroid, or like a donut shape. And in theory, you can go right through the middle of it. However, again, you're gonna be there's the downside of this. One, you're going to be crushed to death by the gravity.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, it would have to be a naked singularity. You can't have one with an event horizon, which again is theoretical, but nature just for some reason says no, not going to happen.
So
yeah, you'd be spaghettified unless you know what's funny is you can if the black hole is big enough, the gradient from your head to your toe is not significant in a supermassive black hole. Like the largest black hole is huge. It's way bigger than our entire solar system. It's massive. If you were to go into that black hole, you wouldn't get spaghettified because you're actually going in at a very small gradient difference. It's the smaller black holes you have to worry about because the gradient is much higher.
So a black hole is formed whenever a large star is like
collapses in
well,
on itself.
There's different types. Yeah. Like a type 1a supernova is actually a supernova that's because you have a white dwarf siphoning off from its companion star that causes that to become a black hole.
Mm.
So there's different types of stars that can become black hole.
A black hole is formed whenever you put enough energy or mass into a very small space. So there was fear about the LHC producing black holes, even though the LHC is like orders of magnitude far away from the energy levels required to do that. But I mean, in theory, we could maybe produce one day particle accelerators that would be able to create black holes.
Yeah, actually, the one that's supposed to be in China. Okay, if you, I saw the diagram once. The very, 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 very like 3-4 standard deviations out, the very low threshold to produce the very minimal amount for a micro black hole. The newer gliders actually be able to reach, but we probably never even notice it unless we're specifically looking for it. And sure the hell wouldn't have any damage. It would be too small to do anything. It wouldn't even absorb a nucleon before it evaporates. Mm-hmm. It'd go. It's all it is. Because what happens, you got to remember, there's something called Hawking radiation, right? And when you have a very small black hole, your surface area is such that the evaporation on that black hole is going to be in the pico or nanoseconds at best. So it's basically creating virtual particles around the entire 360 sphere of that black hole, and it's just all the energy is released.
Yeah, but wouldn't that actually then be a rather big bang? Like the black hole would immediately. Yeah, but
black hole's not going to release that much energy.
Release all of its energy, almost immediately.
Yeah, it would be almost immediately, but I don't know how much that would. I don't know how much that would be equivalent to. It wouldn't like be an atomic bomb. No, not for a micro black hole.
So like even if there was one made, we wouldn't see it for very long.
Yeah, it wouldn't exist very long. Now, if you had a black hole the size of like a baseball, yeah, that's probably going to wipe out a big chunk of the planet, probably.
Yeah.
Think how much energy stored. Like you said, all black hole is a certain amount of mass within a confined area, right? Within the Schwarzschild radius. For the sun, that's about 2.95 kilometers. So if you took the entire sun and you condensed it down to 2.95 kilometers, you're going to have a black hole.
My question is, like, even if time travel was possible, you guys talked about it would be reversing a black hole. So in theory, couldn't that actually send a black hole to the place where you're trying to time travel from?
Well, now you're having some conceptual errors here. A black hole is not a wormhole to anything. A black hole is still an object. It's an object that's so dense that the escape velocity is greater than c. Escape from it, but it's still an object. It's still a physical object in there.
What do you mean when you say
it's just very, very, very compactified?
Oh, okay.
Okay, there's different levels of compactification. Okay, and there's something called degenerative matter. Ever heard of that? Degenerative matter. No. Ever heard of a white dwarf?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, a white dwarf is a star near the end of its life cycle, right? What happens is the white dwarf is reduced down to this type of matter called it's electron degenerative matter, electron degenerative pressure, that's causing it to form this type of star that's very, very, very dense. It's held up basically by the fact that the atoms are squished together. There's no space between them. The electrons orbitals are just basically they're just butting heads with each other, right? So there's no space left. It's just basically compressed pure mass. Okay, they call it neutronium too, by the way. Mm-hmm. Now, if you compact that even further, okay, at that point the electrons, okay, are being absorbed by the protons. They're actually compressed such that the electrons are shoved into the protons. Now, what happens when a proton absorbs proton absorbs an electron?
Yeah.
It becomes neutral charged.
It becomes a neutron, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. So now you have a neutron star. You have a star that's completely made of neutrons. The protons have all absorbed their electrons. It is so well. Actually, the white dwarf is a neutronium. The neutron star is neutronium. Sorry, but it's still pretty dense. A white dwarf. If you had a teaspoon of white dwarf, it would be like Mount Everest. It's a massive amount of mass in there. A baseball size of neutronium, of a neutron star, and you dropped it, it would go through the Earth like Swiss cheese.
Oh,
yeah, it's very dense.
Very, very dense. It would really destroy the planet. It would just rip it all up. It would just fall back and forth and just make it look like Swiss cheese. So you compress a neutron star even further. Now you have a black hole. But if a neutron star came by our planet, we would be screwed. You would be floating in space. It would just rip the mantle right off with a crust.
Yeah, I mean, we probably wouldn't even realize it, right? Wouldn't it be like really quick?
No, I think it would probably be pretty slow and arduous. We would see it come in, and we'd feel the effects of gravity, and black hole is much more dense than a neutron. Somebody had a point in the live chat. Yeah, a neutron star is a lot less dense than a black hole. That's true, yes, but it's still pretty dense.
So wouldn't it be like
Jesus would come in and save us.
I thought about that. If we had a natural disaster like that, what would hardcore Christians be saying if the Earth is about to be? I was like, where was this in the Bible? Hey, General Han Solo, where's your concordance approach for neutron star coming in and
They would pray.
I don't think they think about these things.
A star falling from the heavens, right?
Hey, Steve.
I don't know.
Somebody had asked about LIGO. That's real quick. LIGO. What's funny is the first one they detected. They actually detected two neutron stars colliding. Well, it was actually it's two black holes colliding. The first one was two black holes colliding.
Yeah. And the second.
And they released about 3 solar masses, give or take, with a gravity.
Isn't it like 1.8 billion years ago that they collided, and now we now detected?
Yeah. It was almost 2 billion years ago. Yeah, and it was a couple billion. It was the equivalent of 3 solar masses into gravitational waves. I mean, that's an ungodly amount of mass. And
I mean.
We had see, this is what predictive modeling does. We knew what the waveform would look like. We said, okay, if we see this particular waveform, this is what we would expect by the model, by 2 black holes colliding. And when they saw it, it was a perfect match. The waveform was exactly the same. And then another LIGO detector, a millisecond or 2 later, detected the same thing. Therefore, it had to come from a solar, extra solar system source. More than that, we've actually seen 2 neutron stars. We're going to be detecting them all the time. This is going to open up a whole new classification of radio astronomy based on gravity waves. It's going to be like the advent of radio astronomy. It really is.
We've also been able to pinpoint in the sky where the 2 neutrons star.
Yeah, we had 3. Right.
Yeah.
We had 3 LIGOs detected it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the glow. I mean, that's unusual. That's new.
Steve. I just know we have Red Eye in the live chat. Yeah, Red Eye. See, Landon knows all about this stuff too, but I keep my ear to the ground on this stuff, Red Eye.
Hey, Steve.
I'm just not a pretty face.
I have a question on. You said something about teleportation earlier. So, would teleportation technically be a form of time traveling?
Okay, well, here's the answer to that. Teleportation right now is not what you think it is. Okay, teleportation right now, unfortunately, destroys the original.
Yeah, there's a problem.
You're basically reconstructing something informational wise somewhere else. You're not taking something big and going to subspace and moving it somewhere else or something like that. It doesn't work that way.
There is actually a recent paper from Susskind about teleportation. But the bigger idea behind it is sending information encrypted in such a way that it cannot be kind of.
Oh, that's a real thing. Quantum cryptography is a very real field. And the reason why quantum cryptography is unbreakable is because if anybody tries to hack into it, it changes the binary bit such that the code that you have on the other end that you use to read it, it will no longer work. So anybody that tries to hack in, it basically changes the encryption such that it makes it void. It just destroys the data. It is unhackable.
Wouldn't it also take like 1,000, like a billion years to crack? If you could?
I mean, you need a very, very powerful quantum computer to do it. But let's hypothetically say you have that quantum ability. The intrusion, the active intrusion, would notify the parties, right? And you don't even have to do anything. The quantum key state would change, rendering the whole encryption useless.
That makes sense.
But how would that affect?
You actually have to send the key of the encryption
ahead of time
by but by normal means. Like,
you have to, exactly. You have to send it ahead of time by normal means. So you can't really.
You can't teleport the key. You can't teleport the key.
Right.
Would that mess anything up? I'm trying to figure out how it would work. Like.
Yeah, I can send you the link to the paper.
Yeah, and tell them. And by the way,
the quantum in my head, but
yeah, you can do that. You can send it to, I don't know, put it on the GDC, whatever. Anyway, sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
Teleportation doesn't go faster than the speed of light. By the way, you do realize that, right? Quantum cryptography doesn't go faster than the sea. Teleportation doesn't go faster than the sea. However, you can have entanglement. But entanglement sends information from one place to another. But the problem with entanglement is you can never get usable information out of it.
Yeah, the teleportation itself would go faster than light. It would be instantaneous. But
you're right. You're right. Yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah, I guess it would be. But at the same time,
quantum entanglement.
Because
it's entangled. Go ahead.
Yeah, because it's entangled to go fast. It's entangled, so it does go faster than the speed of light. But
how does it explain that?
But you're not actually sending the original material though. So it's not going faster than the speed of light.
Imagine like this, Midnight. I sent you, or basically we buy a pair of gloves, and we don't know if I have the left one and you have the right one, or vice versa, and we go to the extreme ends of the universe, and then I somehow sent you the key of what I find in my box through normal means, and when you open the letter to open your box, I sent you the other pair of the glove. I kind of teleport you the thing that you have in your box instantaneously. That's kind of teleportation. It's not
I know.
A Star Trek teleportation. It's something else.
Yeah, teleportation in Star Trek is when they actually disassemble you. They put you in a buffer and then they shoot you out in an energy state and recombine.
It's ridiculous.
Well,
and by the way, you die every time.
Yeah, there's always that problem, as you said, Steve. It destroys the original and recreates it. There's a way, you could do that with a cell phone with something inanimate, but how would that affect people? I mean, are you recreated with all your memories? Are you there?
No, I don't think. I think first of all, it require too much massive information to send a person. You need a computer the size of the planet.
You would
store that much data. But I think personally, if I had to bet on it, I think that if you sent something like a person in a teleporter, what comes out the other end would be dead. And the reason I say that is because our brain states have a lot to do with quantum, because of electrons, right? So our quantum states, that's not going to be translated, So there's something's going to be fundamentally different about the copy than it is you. You can't have the perfect reproduction of everything in that same quantum state. It's just not possible.
So our brains basically quantum computers in a way.
Well, no,
That's
we don't.
probably a stupid question, but
we don't rely on quantum processing. Quantum processing is changing the electron orbital states to 1, 0, or both at the same time, right? That gives us an extra parity. Normally, you just have a binary state, something's on or it's off, but in quantum, you can have off, on, or both.
I find, I always find myself, I find it so God damn it, so amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I look at my hands like, holy shit, I'm alive and I can see my hands and I'm aware of it. I'm like, how in the hell could that happen?
Here, okay, I want you. Okay, trip out on this, guys. I want you guys to think about this. You know that the human body is mostly comprised of water, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You also know that the human body is mostly comprised of empty space.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay. How much do you know how much empty space is between the molecules of your body and then the atoms of your body? Now,
you mean between the nucleus and I think it's
the nucleus
like,
well, there's two spaces. You have intermolecular
6 orders of magnitude.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, exactly.
It's like 10 to the minus 15, and the molecule.
But even at interatomic, Tom, how much space is there interatomic between two atoms? Quite a bit.
So why? Well,
right,
yeah, I think.
Well, let me finish. This is getting good.
Okay.
I think the size of an atom is something like 10 to the minus 9, and the size of the nucleus is 10 to the minus 15. So that's like 6 orders of magnitude where the nucleus is smaller than the atom.
Right. So interatomically, there's a lot of space between the atoms, and inside the atom itself is mostly empty space. It's 99.9% or 99.89% empty space between the nucleus and the electrons. Okay. Now,
this is a lot of waste.
Oh, hang on. Now, inside the nucleus, you have protons and neutrons. 99% of that is empty space.
This is freaky.
Neutrons and protons that consist of what's called quarks, held together by gluons. Okay, that's quantum dynamics or quantum electrodynamics. But to every nucleon, 2 up, 1 down, or 2 down, 1 up, and then those are held together by gluons. However, those quarks are in a state where they're not in any specific state position at any given time. They're like electrons. Electrons don't exist at once and as a particle. They exist as a mathematical probability field that has a 360-degree sphere around the atom. Okay, it's called a psi function. And then when you determine where the electron is, then the wave function collapses, and you can say, okay, this electron is located here. But you don't know the momentum. You can only know the position or the momentum with some kind of certainty, right? The more you know about one, the less you know about the other. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
Yeah, now, according to this old Copenhagen interpretation.
I love my Copenhagen interpretation. Don't go. You're gonna go all many worlds theory on me, aren't you? Don't do that. I hate many worlds. I can't say that it's wrong, but I don't like the ramifications, right? So let's stick with
ramifications. Go ahead. I just have a question though, but I'll wait.
Sure. So the nucleons inside the quarks inside the nucleons are mostly space. Now, what about quarks? Well, guess what quarks are composed of?
Space.
Supposedly strings?
Yes, string theory, right? Which is mostly empty space. So what the hell are you doing of?
I don't know. That's what I was asking. Why is something solid? I don't know. I have an eraser here. It feels solid to me, but if you're telling me it's mostly empty space, what the hell am I holding?
Exactly. I mean, all matter. I mean,
it's a mind fuck.
Empty space.
Yeah, it's a mind fuck.
You don't touch anything. You're never in contact with anything physically. You always have that force between them. You're actually feeling that force.
Yeah, what you're holding is actually.
Well, good.
What you're holding is actually something that is having a force field around it that is telling you that this is what you're holding.
Yeah, this is the texture.
Yeah, it's also it also has to do with your eyes too, because because excuse me, because when I close my eyes, the photons that enter it that allow me to see the world, they're gone. But I can still feel the eraser in my hands because because of all the other particles and senses, that exist in me. So even though I close my eyes, I can still feel the world around me. You know what I mean? It still exists.
Well, I believe that
I don't know where I'm going with
outside
this,
world
but
exists. I believe there's objective
well,
reality.
I'm not arguing.
I'm a realist. Well, there are people that do. They call it idealist.
Yeah,
I'm a realist. I do believe that universe exists. Although idealism has some interesting things to it, but I'm not a naive realist. I don't think that we're seeing things the way the reality actually is. I think we're seeing it as we perceive it to be.
Which you're right about that. And also, when people say, "Oh, something is an hallucination," I'm like, "Well, okay, then, what is an hallucination then?" Because we say an hallucination is something that's not real, but based on the stream you had like a week ago, you were saying, I talked to these beings, and I'm like, well, what the hell, man? I mean, did Steve just have a hallucination?
There's a question that goes back, philosophers a long time. Are ideas real?
Yeah.
Do they exist? It's a hard question to answer, depending on how you look at it. Do ideas exist in reality? Well, I'm thinking of an idea, so it exists, but does it have any concrete form? No, obviously that would be what's called hyperstantiation, I believe it's called, or concretism, where you make something that's non-tangible tangible. But I have a hard time answering that question, whether ideas exist.
Well, I mean, this is why I think when people say, oh, I saw all these like strange things when I was hallucinating. Oh, well, you were just influenced by your culture. I'm like, well, that's not really a good argument, because if somebody tells you about a car and you've never seen it before, you know what I mean? Then you actually see it. Although my argument
doesn't really address what I'm saying, though, Midnight.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
What I'm saying, do concepts exist? Do you guys think that ideas and concepts exist in reality? I'm not talking about Platonic forms, but when I say that I'm having a thought, is that something that exists in reality?
Well, objectively, they exist in a sense that the neurons in your brain are firing. Whether the ideas themselves, you're right. It's really a damn hard question to answer.
I think yes, yes, they do exist. Ideas and concepts and thoughts.
Okay, I don't think there's a wrong answer, by the way.
Is anyone saying a thought here is something besides neurons firing? It's neurons firing and something else?
No, I'm a materialist, so no.
They don't exist.
Well, good. I have respect.
I'm a naturalist, but I would say the whole thing is an abstraction, right? So when I see a tree and I ask someone else, "Do you see the tree?" then he can say yes or no, but he doesn't have to give me the exact positions of the particles that compromise the tree, and he could see another tree that has a different composition of particles, and he would say, yeah, that's another tree as well. So he's abstracting certain forms, certain arrangements of particles or whatever that he perceives and says, this is a tree, this is a tree, this is a rabbit, not a tree, right?
Well, I get that, but here's the argument that like Matt said, he doesn't think they exist in reality. So my counter to that would be, if concepts don't exist in reality, then you're saying that concepts aren't real, and you're saying they don't exist.
Okay, but before
if something isn't real, that means it doesn't exist. But we do have thoughts, we do have concepts.
Yeah,
so they do exist.
Steve, I do believe that concepts and thoughts are real, but I don't believe they have a Platonic existence,
No, I don't
beyond
think so
our
either,
minds,
no.
beyond the universe, the physical
Yeah, I
universe
agree with
itself.
Yeah, no, I don't think
it still doesn't address. I don't know.
That doesn't answer the question, though.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's just.
Well, are we having trouble with abstraction? Is that?
No, but like Matt said that he doesn't believe that ideas exist. Well, if they don't exist, then how are you having one?
Can I give?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Matt.
Okay, so here's why I say that they don't exist. Steve, I don't know if you've ever heard this question, but let me give you guys a little question that I was asked a while back. Well, no, it's not a question, it's a statement. Basically, the statement was, if I wasn't here, you wouldn't exist. And if you guys understand that, that's where I'm kind of getting this logic as an exist
I
doesn't.
do understand that, but I'm not a solipsist. Are you?
I don't know what that is, no. So I would.
That's basically what you said.
To know.
What you just said relates to solipsism.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't-
solipsist.
I
A
don't
solipsist
really.
is somebody who says that I exist, my brain exists. However, there's no other external minds other than my own.
Oh well, then I don't think that. I was just saying
So
my question.
if I didn't exist, none of you would exist if I was a solipsist.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense now. But here's why
Which
I
might
don't.
be true. I don't know at this point. I'm so confused.
Okay,
Unless.
hang on.
Go ahead, sorry.
Nada is going to confuse way, but the rest of you I'm not quite sure of.
Okay, so let me before I give the rest of my answer, let me get this straight. We are all basically walking, talking storage units.
No, that would be a Descartes automatron. There's
Okay,
something like Descartes was trying to come up with a what he called automata, which are basically just philosophical zombies that for all practical purposes exist, but they have no actual autonomy.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Descartes was a
I
little
don't
weird
believe that,
anyway, but I do like Descartes. He invented the Cartesian coordinate system, so he had some uses.
I mean, I don't think that external minds don't exist. I think that external minds do exist. I'm fine with that.
Am I allowed to say yes?
Except for I don't think Ronnie actually exists. I think his mind might be on.
What he means by that is that he believes that minds external to his own exist.
Yes.
Yeah, like if like if Steve,
But I can't prove that anyway, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no one can prove that. I mean,
Yeah, P zombies are called, right? Philosophical
So-
zombies.
May I actually say that I'm going to say yes and no to the question: do thoughts and ideas exist? Here's why I say both. You cannot technically. Okay, so you can prove that you're having a thought right now because your brain is telling you, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking." But can you prove, like, okay, fuck.
To someone else?
Yeah, can you prove to that person?
No, that's the whole point. That's why you just have to accept that other minds exist. It's axiomatic. I have no way to determine whether you guys exist or not besides me just making it an axiom saying, okay, you know what? Brute fact, you exist. That's it. That's the best I'm going to do on it. I'm okay with that.
This is why I say
Again, with some exception, but
this is why I say I'm not equal with you guys because my brain is fucking hurting right now.
It's
okay. Mine hurts too. Mine hurts all the time talking to Steve and others.
Well, no, it's just because you guys are extremely smart and I feel stupid.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not.
Any of this. Like
You could really pick this stuff up in a matter of months. I mean, if you really focused on it.
Yeah, I mean, I took me 3 years to actually learn anything.
Well, I mean, okay, so let me just throw this out there. What if, like, I mean, I think there is a way to prove to another person that this thought is happening right now. And here's why I say that. Because I don't know if you've ever had this with a person, but me and my friend on numerous occasions have both had the same thought at the exact same time.
Yeah, some people would call that coincidence. I don't know. It's strange.
I personally do not believe in coincidence.
It's called serendipity, better word than coincidence.
All right,
But
Morpheus.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You know, think about this. Think about this. How many people? Hang on, Matt. How many people do you interact with on a day?
Not including.
Now, how many times do you think you're probably going to actually have a thought similar to somebody else?
Am I not?
It's going to be probably pretty likely.
Am I not including when I'm at work?
Well, whenever
So
it
there you
doesn't really matter.
Well, here's the thing. Like, it was. Like, here's what I'm saying. Like, the thought that we both had the exact same time was so strange that it could not have been coincidence.
I don't know. I mean, I'm on the fence about that.
Your minds were entangled.
It was like. So
thank you, Tom.
Okay, so the thought was this. We were talking about Schrodinger's cat, right?
Oh, my favorite.
And we were talking basically how it worked in like the Schrodinger's box. So we were talking about like, could you make a Schrodinger pie? And at the same time, we asked the same question. So like, my point is this: you can prove to somebody that you're having a thought just by like,
Did you say pie?
breaking it down. Yes, we were making. Okay. To be completely honest, we were all very under the influence of marijuana.
Oh, okay. So it's whether the pie was cooked or not, you're saying?
Yeah, was it cooked or was it not? You couldn't tell.
Man.
See, but like, my point, like, what I'm saying is, you could prove to somebody by a thought, and they may not understand that thought. Like right now, I'm trying to prove a thought to you guys, and it's just not making any sense because what's coming out is pure gibberish. And
like, the thing is, we're not psychics. You know, we're not mind readers.
Yeah,
so,
I understand.
Like, you know, I have never had a direct experience of someone else's mind. You know, because and if I did, man, I mean, you should call me a psychic.
You've never done a Vulcan mind meld?
Okay, so here's the question.
Yeah.
Do you guys, like, I want everyone's answer, but do you guys believe that in some way the mental state of twins are actually connected?
No.
Well, they actually, if I remember correct, okay, now maybe someone else does it, but haven't they done studies with twins that they showed that there is some sort of connection, or am I misremembering? I know maybe there was a.
They just tend to be more adept at interpreting familiar body language.
Yeah, social cues.
And social cues, yeah.
But like, okay, but do you
I gotta
believe that they
need more
feel
drink.
each
Go
other's
back.
pain? Like, here's the question: do you believe that they can feel each other's pain?
Yeah, that's actually that goes into astrology level basically. And while that's
I don't think it goes into astrology per se, because we're talking about twins, not. Well,
I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say probably not.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
getting. Like,
to Google.
I know that there's empathy. There's empathy, which means that you have been in that situation, and that you can relate to what that person is going through.
Well, I mean, empathy. Empathy is not just that. I mean, empathy is you could imagine yourself in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that you've been in that situation. Like, if I see a homeless person, I've never been homeless. I mean, my family was dirt poor in Italy,
Right.
sort of. But we saw a house. But if I see someone in the street, I could say, "Oh, you know what I mean?"
Emphasis on imagine.
Yeah. You can have empathy. Yeah. God damn it, I can't speak. Anyways, you guys speak better.
I feel like that's more sympathy than that is empathy.
It's a little bit of both, I guess.
No, man.
Like,
The thing is,
go ahead.
If I see someone, being cut, with a knife or something, yeah, I can imagine in my mind, what it would be like to experience that, but it's not like I'm literally experiencing that person's pain,
Yeah.
Like,
But like, say that you and I were twins, and I just got decked in the face. Do you believe that you're gonna feel that?
probably not, honestly.
Like, because so the reason why I bring this up is for some weird reason, and I'm not trying to be all psychic bullshit because I know that those are not existing, but for some weird reason, I have one very, very close friend that is like, I would die for this person. Like, I have really close friends, but this person I would literally die for.
Yeah, I think we all have those people.
And like, whenever one of them like a very big trouble, and we're not around each other, we will feel something like, hey, like I should call this person. You know what I'm saying? And we're not related at all.
Well, no, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, because sometimes you're thinking about a person, and all of a sudden they call you. I mean, it happens all the time. Like, I'm thinking of my best friend. He called. It doesn't always happen, mind you, but it does happen. You know what I mean? Or I'll call and he'll tell me, hey, I was just thinking about you. You know what I mean? It does happen.
So how do you explain that is what I'm asking.
You don't. You just let it go for now. Otherwise, it'll drive you nuts, and you just talk to the person. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There are some things we'll never know the answer. We'll never know the why behind it. You know.
Yeah.
I
Screw
promise.
you. I'm gonna know everything one of these days, and I'm not.
Dude, yeah, I want to know everything too. I mean, you know, it's just my crazy idea.
Yeah.
I promise.
I mean, if there was an afterlife, I think it would be great if they just explained everything.
I know, right?
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Do you guys consider yourselves to be soft solipsists in any way? Because I kind of do in a way.
Yes, Steve.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I mean it's not
soft
that far.
solipsism.
I think most people are soft solipsists, because I don't know how you would not be.
Yeah, because I mean, how can it be too sure that minds other than my own exist, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think hard solipsists. I think those are kind of out to lunch, but soft solipsist. Yeah, I definitely think that most people kind of are, whether they kind of.
Well, but I mean, Steve,
The
you know,
difference.
I don't know. To me, you know, being a solipsist in general seems kind of what's the word I can use?
Selfish.
No, not in a way selfish, but foolish
No.
because I don't know. I can't explain it.
Soft solipsism. Do you know what that is?
What's the difference?
Okay,
between
sorry.
the hard
Maybe I
solipsism?
misunderstood soft
Okay,
solipsism. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, hard solipsis is what you're referring to. Okay, the problem with hard solipsis is that you can never know external minds exist. However, there's soft solipsist that was basically what Descartes was saying. I think, therefore, I am. Is basically I think the only thing I know for certain about minds existing is my own. That's the only thing I can say with certainty. My mind exists. I can never make that statement to your guys' mind with certainty. I can say that I believe it, I know it, but I can't have a certainty there.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
That's
All right.
soft.
Yeah, but like, okay, so my.
I think
here's
most
how
people follow that.
I think I can disprove this by this statement right here. Not completely disprove it, but in a way disprove it. If this makes any sense. Say you, Steve. Say me and you into this this chat right now. I would no longer be able to talk to you at that point in time, unless I were to message you, right?
Right.
So either way, you still exist. I still exist.
But you're missing the point of a soft solipsist. A soft solipsist says, I have no way to validate any other mind exists other than my own. And that's true.
So basically, that question, excuse me, that question that I asked earlier was a self-solipsist, like a soft one, or is that
Could
hard?
be. Well, I don't remember what you said. I think you've been talking about hard all this time.
Like what I said was, if I didn't exist right now, if I wasn't here right now, you
That's
wouldn't
hard
exist.
solipsist, yeah.
That's hard. Okay, I'm definitely not hard. I promise.
I believe you.
I heard that
I believe
statement in my mind for a second there.
Yeah.
And because my buddy brought it up at the table, and when we were sitting at lunch at work today, he's just like, dude, if I wasn't here right now, you wouldn't exist. And I was like, wait, what the fuck?
That'd be a hard solipsist, right? Saying
So-
if something happens to me, all you motherfuckers go away.
So, Steve, I have a question, man. So let's say that I decide, well, I guess in a way, I kind of do this already. I believe that there are other minds, minds other than my own. I see another human being, and I believe that that person, there's a mind with that body. I mean, would that be could that be a weak inference?
Yeah, well, that's what soft solipsism is that you're saying that your mind exists, but you only have confirmation that. But I can have weak inferences that your minds do exist, and I accept that your minds do exist, right?
Because I experience myself. I know I have a mind, and this mind is accompanied by my human body, and then I see another human body, and I make that weak inference. Even though I only have like one confirmed example to work with.
So what do you do when you run into somebody like G-Man? How do you does that throw your whole thing off? Because I don't know if he has an external mind or not. I don't know.
See, okay, so I'm okay. I just want to say this real quick. I'm okay with some conspiracy theories, but there was one that was brought up today that I just hate with an extreme passion. And
Which one?
You know that fucking conspiracy theory that the whole world's like the Matrix and we haven't woke up?
Yeah.
It's the stupidest damn thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, there is something similar to that, sort of. Steve can correct me. The holographic theory.
No, that's not what the holographic theory is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, the guy was saying that we were the Truman Show.
Yeah, that's not the same thing. You're talking about living in a simulation.
Yeah, that's
A
I
simulation
mean,
theory, not
like
the-
the holographic theory is about our 3D universe being a projection on like a 2D surface, right?
Yes. Or projection from a 2D surface.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
The holographic principle states that all the information in the universe is encoded on the boundary of the observable event horizon that surrounds the universe from our location, right? So our observable universe, on as far as we can see out, that boundary condition, that membrane in Planck squares contains all the binary ones and zeros of information of the entire universe contained within it.
So, like,
It's fair to say that is not a hard solipsism, the holographic universe. That's entirely something else.
Yeah, that's based on entropic theory and black holes, and that's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mathematically, and this isn't very old stuff. They found out when they looked at black holes that to describe the entropy of the black hole, it is the maximum amount of entropy is the surface area of the black hole, and you can apply that to any system. So, like for example, in my room, the maximum amount of information is stored on the walls of my room. So every object in here is a 3D projection that I could actually is stored on the surface area of this room.
So my question is,
it's weird, but that's how it works.
Yeah, I know.
That doesn't imply that this simulation or that there are simulators running the simulation.
No, it's just a consequence of entropy. That's entropic theory.
I mean, to be fair, I mean it's something you can confuse. I mean, when people bring up terms like that, but it's
a
the holographic principle has nothing to say about your state of mind.
No, it is kind of weird to think that we are. There's two things going on. One, we're represented as a 3D form from a two-dimensional membrane, which is what a hologram is, obviously. And the hologram doesn't really have much. It doesn't have any mass to it, any substance, and we barely have any substance to us. So, we're
basically, Steve's probably gonna hate me for using this analogy, but we're basically video game characters. Like I said, you're gonna hate it, but
no.
So, like,
you're confusing simulation theory with holographic theory. They're two different things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit of relations.
No. What I meant is that is that we do sort of the same thing with our video games. Like the 3D image, 3D shapes are projected into a 2D surface.
No, the holographic is the opposite. A holographic is basically a three-dimensional form that's stored in two-dimensional information. So you have a two-dimensional,
which is really hard to think about.
Yeah, but think about it. When you have if I have a chip that's a two-dimensional disk, and I shine a laser through it, it produces a three-dimensional object. So everything that's encoded to produce that three-dimensional shape is encoded on that two-dimensional plane.
But that's what you do. Never mind.
It's hard to wrap your head around. I know. Somebody asked me in the live chat, don't photons have mass? Yeah, they don't have rest mass. Photons have mass because they're traveling at a speed, right? At a speed of light, or if they can slow down various mediums. But there's an energy mass equivalency. So you have what's called relativistic mass, but the relativistic mass is not the same as rest mass. A photon cannot go have rest mass. It can be slowed down and even stopped, but it's not rest mass. And all really that you're slowing down with a photon is you're increasing the mean free travel path. So
and Steve, if I had no rest mass myself, I'd be traveling at the speed of light, right?
If you had no rest mass, if you had no rest mass, you would be at sea, because at sea. Well, I don't think you necessarily have to be at sea, but you could be at sea.
Oh, okay.
You could be at zero velocity, zero rest.
Also, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't I
don't know how that would work, but I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Doesn't the Higgs boson give particles mass?
The Higgs boson. Okay.
The Higgs field.
The Higgs field is what.
Higgs field.
Higgs field imparts mass, and the Higgs field is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Okay. The Higgs field is what imparts mass. What a boson does is usually a force carrier. Like, for example, we have what's called an intermediate vector
Right, it's
boson.
a messenger particle.
The messenger particle, W, Z particles. These are all particles used in weak nuclear decay modes. And when you reach higher energy levels, we expect more massive bosons to exist, right? And so there's not just one Higgs particle, by the way. There are expected to be other Higgs particles at higher energy levels.
Or right, energy level. Sorry, dimensions is different.
Yeah, but anything that's a gauge particle of any kind is a boson. A photon is a boson, right? Gluons are bosons. If they exist, gravitons would be a wait. Is graviton a boson? Somebody look it up.
Hold on. Aren't all messenger particles of the four fundamental forces boson fields or part of the?
Well, a force carrier, right? Everything. Yeah. Graviton has to be a boson because it's a force carrier for gravity. So a gravity has the force carrier for gravity being a graviton. The force carrier for weak nuclear interactions are going to be the W and Z bosons. The force carrier for the strong nuclear force is the gluon, and the carrier force for the electromagnetic. What's the carrier for electromagnetic? You figure it out.
Hold on. The electromagnet is the photon.
Yes, there you go. So photons, gluons, bosons, WZ, and graviton would have to be all types of bosons. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, there's so many ons.
Oh, dude, Matt, trust me, it gets confusing. Trust me, it gets confusing.
Particle physics. When I was in 7th and 8th grade, that was just my favorite subject, was reading about particle physics. I loved it. I was like, holy shit.
Really?
I want to know everything about it. I want to know hadrons, muons, mesons.
Steve, I'm with you.
There's
particle physics, everything. God, I really have not necessarily derailed too much, but I really hope. Actually, no, never mind. I shouldn't bring that up. But
you know what sucks though? Now they introduced supersymmetry, and it's too confusing for me. You got so many goddamn weird particles. I understood simple symmetry and simple things like gauge theory as far as the standard model, right? Okay, you stick two quarks together, you get a meson, right?
Yeah.
Okay, big deal. But 6-3, you get a hadron or baryon. But here's the thing with the freaking supersymmetry: these particles are weird. They don't even make any sense. I can't pronounce half of them.
Well, no. See, the reason why, one of the reasons why they think they haven't found the super particles yet is because they're too heavy to detect, or too light. I forget which one. You know what I mean? They're too heavy to detect with our current technology.
Yeah, you have to reach what's called the energy levels we want to eventually get to, which I would think would need a type 2 civilization probably, or 3 even.
Yeah, or even 4.
Well, it's called Planck scale. The Planck scale is the conditions in the early formations of the universe. The conditions for the pressures and temperatures involved in the Planck scale, we are epically magnitudes away from right now.
Yeah,
we would have to harness a star to probably reach those kind of conditions. Even then,
like an entire galaxy.
It requires a lot to get to the Planck scale. I don't remember the specificities, but yes, Planck scale is nowhere near our near future. I can tell you that right now.
All right, Matt, you wanted to say something?
Hey, Steve, you know what else sucks?
Huh?
I'm not gonna sleep tonight because, dude, my brain is trying to wrap around everything.
It's not easy. Trust me.
You know what sucks the most, Matt? Try being somebody like we jump topics, right? And 2 hours ago we're talking about epistemology, and now we're talking about physics. It's like I have to like switch gears. It's like
but you're smart, man. Like
we talked about time travel, man.
Right? Oh God, Crazy Jesse just asked any opinions on pilot wave theory. Oh, me and Tom. We're going to have a hang on pilot wave theory. The bomb. Yeah. Here's the thing with pilot wave theory.
Holy boom.
Yeah, the bomb theory. Bohemian mechanics. This
Bohemian.
is what I want you to do, Matt. At this point, just basically put earplugs in because this is gonna be mind blowing. Okay.
Get yourself a drink.
Yeah, get yourself a drink.
Rhapsody.
Beer. Okay. The pilot wave theory. Okay, here's my take on pilot wave theory. Crazy Jesse. Oh God, Tom's going to probably be on my ass on this. Okay, so pilot wave theory to me satisfies the Bell inequality, and for those who don't know, the Bell inequality says there's no hidden variable model that can account for all quantum states in the system. Okay, but even though it does that, it's at the loss of locality, and so there's two things when any kind of looking at any kind of theory for that. You have locality and realism, right? So you have local realism where you have the ability to communicate in subluminal velocities through direct kind of particle or something communication between one system to another.
Yeah, that means not faster than light.
Not faster than light. And
Right.
you lose locality, right? If the local model is a non-locality theory, but it does satisfy a hidden variable model as described by the Bell inequality. So yes, pilot wave theory or de Broglie bomb theory is legit. Bohemian theory is legit. However, I'm not a big fan of it because I don't think it really gets you anything.
So call me
Yeah,
Kurt.
the only thing that I would add is the Bohm theory is some
And I'm
kind
drunk
of
right now.
ontological theory. So they posit that every particle has a specific location, but you cannot. As soon as you measure it, you are changing. Basically, the whole Heisenberg uncertainty principle applies as well. They just posit that every particle actually has a specific location,
right?
And the trajectory, the momentum is unknown.
Right, because you could know one of the others. Oh, can you read the live chat? What did Crazy Jesse just say?
Wait, Steve, have you seen the video by?
Wait, 1 second. 1 second. Who's reading the live chat? Anybody?
I'm sorry.
Nobody's reading it in here?
No.
Yeah, have a look.
He says, can you look at it real quick? You want to look at it, Midnight?
God damn, that's going slow. Crazy Jesse?
Yeah, what's the last thing Crazy Jesse said?
She said, they said exactly right answer, Steve.
Exactly right answer, Steve. Yes! Yes! I pull that out my ass, people.
Wait, hold on. What are they referring to? I'm like lost here.
The question of pilot wave theory.
Oh yeah.
See, it's kind of fun. Okay, here's the funniest thing, Midnight. We have people on the other side of the aisle, like Ronnie, who thinks that I just sit here and Google this shit and memorize it instantaneously. Okay, let me tell you, I am kicking back, having a whiskey drink, and I'm having to pull this shit out of my ass. This is not something you just go look up and able to rattle off an explanation of this shit by going to Google Fuit. It's just
after Matt gets done, I need to tell. Go ahead, Matt. You go first.
Hey, sorry. Go ahead.
I like what Crazy Dutch said. It said it's a solid theory, but it doesn't get you anywhere. I agree. But like I said, it's just not. These are. I don't sit here and just fucking Google foo this shit. I have looked into this stuff, but it's so funny when people like Ronnie. Oh, Steve doesn't know anything.
Well, I mean, Ronnie, I was in a hangout with Wolf before, right? And in his latest video, Ronnie, I maybe misremembering, but Ronnie said he actually orchestrated a lot of the events that happen around him. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy playing? 4D chess? I recommend going to see his video and Wolf King's stream with me in it. I mean, like I said, I'm trying to. I'm not sure if I'm misrepresenting Ronnie. But when he said that, I was like, "What the fuck?"
But do you see how weird it is for somebody to say, "Oh, well, such and such doesn't know anything about this topics," but yet I'm having hangouts on these topics all the freaking time on across the board.
Veritasium made a video with oil droplets on. I forgot if it was water or some kind of fluid. Kind of showing a quantum behavior with oil droplets bouncing on the water.
Y'all can call me Kurt Cobain because I just got my head blown off.
I told you that we keep a lot of things superficial, but when somebody talks about pilot wave theory, you can't just be superficial. That's some pretty heavy duty shit, right?
I feel like I'm Jello right now, and y'all are just sticking like fuckloads of information into me, and it's just like wiggling.
Okay.
Well, nobody can't say they can't learn something from us. That's for damn sure.
Well, yeah. By the way, Steve.
We all know that Steve is actually he's the hard solipsist of the solipsist, and we are only his sock accounts.
Solipsist of the solipsist.
The live hangout just a show. He has actually up to 10 computers hooked up together, and
I've
all
done
the
that. Yeah, you're all me.
Just pre-recorded videos of him voice modulating other people, and they quote unquote join his live hangouts and talk to each other, supposedly, right?
Who knows what the hell these people think? I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, I have nothing to prove to any of them. I mean, I debated Ronnie and kicked his ass. What else do I need to do?
Wait,
Matt, if you
when
want
was
to learn
this? Like
about
years ago?
quantum mechanics, watch Inspiring Philosophy.
Oh, Inspiring Philosophy, yeah.
Maybe Steve.
No, that guy's an idiot. I actually responded to his video on materialism.
Anti-Citizen X has pretty much destroyed Inspiring Philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job on that.
Yeah, I wasn't being serious. But
I know.
But I have watched IP's things. I've watched Anti-Citizen X hand him his ass. But what? Go ahead.
How can we prove that you're not God?
At this point, I don't even know. When somebody tells me that I could be their God, the conversation's kind of done at that point.
Hashtag praise Steve or something. I forgot what I said.
I couldn't believe that. I've never had anybody say that to me before. I know I'm not your God. How do you know that? Holy shit.
Like he was pulling a Dawkins. How do you know? Like he was
pulling a bad version of Psi 10, if that's even possible. How do you get worse than Psi 10?
So like, okay, so I have the nickname, and I hope I don't offend anybody watching or in the chat. But I have the nickname Ginger Jesus, and it's because it's a long fucking story.
Yeah.
But okay, so my buddy's been watching some of your videos, Steve, and he goes, "If you're Ginger Jesus, that's your dad, because he seems like God right now." Like he just texted me, he's watching it right now. He goes, "Oh my God, dude, what the fuck is he saying? And how are you like?" He's about as smart as me. He goes, "Dude, I don't know how the fuck you are keeping toe to toe with these people, but I have no idea what you guys have said."
I just found out that I could be Hyper-Calvinist as God. I mean, that's pretty high praise. I mean, but thank you.
But Steve, did you see the after hangout from Skylar Fiction?
I
mean,
didn't get a
yesterday?
chance to watch the after hangout. Was it good?
Right. So someone said, because he was also answering all these kind of difficult questions from Skylar, and he says, yeah, okay. And then someone commented, well, the Hyper-Calvinists, they are the bullet biters of Christianity. So
There's
he bites the
some truth to that.
bullet.
Yeah,
he
no,
bites the bullet on, yeah, you could be his God. He
he
just
did
bites
bite the bullet on that. He really
problem.
did. I think you're
By the
exactly
way,
right.
Steve, my buddy. By the way, Steve, my buddy Austin says hello.
Hello, Austin.
He's been texting me. He goes, "Dude, how the fuck are you still in this live chat? Why aren't
Have Austin watch the hangout I just had with the Hyper-Calvinist.
Oh no, he's gonna watch it later. Like,
oh, tell him. Is he old enough to drink?
Yes.
Okay, tell him
Matt,
to make
you
sure he
said-
stocks up on the hard shit.
You said you're 19 years old, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, yeah,
In
it
the
seems
state
like a lot of these topics, this is like your first time ever hearing about them, right?
Oh, at 19,
we're allowed to drink with parents.
I knew a little bit about. Obviously, I knew a little bit about physics at 19. I was actually training people to operate nuclear power plant, or started. Well, I was in my second year, so I was just getting to the point where I was starting to learn how to train people to operate nuclear power plants. At 19, I mean, by 2021, I had already been certified on 2 reactor systems, but I didn't know anything about epistemology. I didn't know anything about philosophy at all, right? I mean, seriously, if you would have asked me in nukes, when I was in the nuclear field about epistemology, I would have said, "What the hell does that mean?"
Dude,
I didn't know what epistemology meant until like 4 years ago.
Steve, he just texted me. He goes, "If this..."
Yeah, of course I can.
He says this. He says this. "If this guy is drunk, I want to see him stoned." And I just started laughing. I'm like, "Oh my God, Steve!"
Oh my God, there's a funny story behind that.
I don't get stoned, but I'm not exactly drunk yet, but I definitely feel it.
Well, I mean, Steve, would you mind? Could you see? Yeah, Christian anarchist once in.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't have the link. It was in the chat.
The link is in. Just give him the hangout link at the top there.
Right. Yeah, that works. Never mind.
And I'll give it to him as too. But I got a little bit of whiskey left. I got to finish it off.
So, like, okay, here's the question. And it's from Austin. So keep in mind that this is from Austin. He said that, what if we were to, like, when Steve dies, what if we were able to take his brain and put it into another person's body? Would it still work?
One, I don't know how that would work, but who the hell would want my brain? There's a hell of a lot more. There's a hell of a lot more smarter people in this community than me. I mean, I'm probably, if I had to take an average, I'm like probably right in the middle of the bell curve.
Dude, okay, so he has a great idea, and he's want to put it on Twitter. He says hashtag G-Man on Steve's dick.
G-Man's actually still broadcasting, isn't he?
No, he's not. I think he got shut down because like somebody reported his video for bullying because he was making fun of.
I just looked over it. 40. He's got 42 people watching.
Why the hell would you? I don't know. Reporting videos is just.
He's got 49 downvotes and 42 people watching, and I got 38 people watching and 15 upvotes and 9 downvotes. Okay, well.
I guess people didn't really like his video talking shit about you, man. I don't know.
Well, I mean, so like Austin's been watching it. He goes, "So you called G-Man a pussy?" And I was like, "That's a long story."
Yeah, see, but G-Man will talk smack about me, but he'll never back it with a damn thing. Has G-Man and Ronnie ever produced a single bit of evidence to support anything they've ever claimed me about me?
G-Man has tried and failed miserably many times. Like when you said, didn't he try to say that you could be, you said you could be an atheist and believing, like there was this whole.
The evidence he used on that was him
hang on,
talking in a video.
So you're telling me that true empiricism makes claims about you and doesn't back them up with empirical evidence?
He doesn't back it up with any evidence.
Oh, by the way, Steve, one more thing from Austin. He promised to leave me alone. He said, hashtag bring back Brett Keane.
Oh, God, no. Brett's blocked me across the board. He's blocked me on G+. He's blocked me on Facebook. I don't have anything to do with Brett Keane any longer. He's not even worth the time to even try to have a conversation. Like Neffy, I got Neffy back online, right? And Neffy now he'll send me the link every time he has a hangout. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. I went in the first time in like last month when I got him back and running, but he did the same shit. And I'm like, okay, you didn't learn anything. I'm done. And now he has these hangouts, and he had this one that I watched like for 5 minutes. It was Seth and a few other people, and it was called Open and Fair Discussion on Evolution or something. And within like 5 minutes I watched, people are already leaving. They're like, screw this. It's like, come on. It was funny. I mean, even Seth was like, "You're dude." Seth was even calling him a total nub or something. He's like, "Dude, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about, Neffy."
So I feel like if Brett Keane and G-Man made a YouTube channel together, the whole world would explode.
It'd be like Division by Zero.
Well, Steve, what was I trying to say? But I will at least give G-Man some credit for actually debating Dragnut, and the Emperor Atheist. Like, G-Man's put himself out there. Ronnie.
Oh, I agree. But here's the thing, Midnight. The discussion that G-Man had with Dragnut was one of the worst debates I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's
I agree.
That wasn't anything slighted to Drag, okay?
Yeah, no.
Not at all. I think Drag's reputation was a little but I mean, Drag did okay. But the problem was that G-Man had such a shitty presentation, shitty argument. He used a fake news source. I've never seen
that was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
He used a fake freaking news source. And then Ronnie had the audacity to say, well, just because it's on a fake news source doesn't mean it's actually fake. Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna be fair. There could be a fake news source that every so often runs a true news source. But you know what? If you find something on a fake news source, it is far more likely to be bullshit.
Yeah. Like, wait, what kind of fake news source is this? Like, it's like openly satirical.
It's like The Onion.
It was World News Daily, which is like The Onion.
Yeah, and at the bottom.
Yeah, he quoted it as a real news source. At the bottom, it's a disclaimer saying, this is all bullshit kind of thing.
Well, didn't? Okay,
did you just say that he used The Onion?
Well, it was similar. It's very similar. Called World News Net Daily Report or something.
Oh my god!
It's just like The Onion, same principle.
Yeah.
So basically, he used Wikipedia for a fucking.
No,
news
Wikipedia is at least legit. This was a fake news source. That's the whole thing they do is they make fake news articles. One of them is like, astronomers find pigs flying in space or something. It's like, or
a woman arrested for training squirrels to attack her husband or something.
Pregnant woman gives birth to her father. I don't know, some weird shit, right?
Astronomers
Let's put it
have
this way.
discovered a planet covered in weed. I read one
the
article
closest,
like that.
the closest thing to a real story that World News Daily has ever made actually is about Arn Ra.
Really?
Was what?
Yeah, you can. He has an old video. This is from like 5 years ago. It's up on his channel when he's telling these facts about himself. Apparently, the World News Daily got hold of this police report about his pet monitor lizard escaping its cage or environment and climbing into a tree, and the police shot it down with a rifle. And they ran the headline that monstrous lizard terrorizes city, and they have like a picture of Godzilla on it.
Oh God! I gotta get one more drink. Nicola, did you listen to that previous hangout
with Hyper-Calvinist?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I wanted to shoot myself.
You did?
Hey, you're not alone. You're not.
I listened to some of it on the drive home, and then when I got home, I was like, "No, I'm gonna."
All right,
play video games
before I
now.
get into this, because I want to ask some CA some questions. I'm gonna get another drink.
Okay.
But before I do, CA, you are I believe you. This guy's not a Poe, right? He's literally this stupid. Correct?
Oh no, he. I knew him when he was just known as absolute predestinarian.
Okay. I believe you. I think that he's legit. I think he's just mentally deficient.
I don't know how to, like, oh God.
The cogs are not fully working with this guy. And here's the thing.
Flight of stairs.
He obviously he's been around for a while, so he hasn't learned anything from any discussion that he's had, and he hasn't realized that his arguments have just bombed.
He just picked up whatever video he was watching of Side 10.
Side 10, Bronson, yeah.
Yeah, but wait a second. He does seem to bite the bullet a lot, and I guess his with Skylar Fiction in his talk, Skylar Fiction was saying about something about incest, and then he said, "Well, I never actually thought about it that way." So. Does he actually change his positions about?
He does at times. Just like recently, when I met him, he was a primitive Baptist. Now he's no longer that, and he apparently thinks that, like, he's the only one with this right belief, and he's like saying the only brothers in Christ I have is Martin Luther, John Calvin, John Gill. These are people that lived like 400 to 500 years ago. He thinks that like everyone else is like he's the only one.
And if you do a bit of digging, they probably disagree with him on a whole lot of shit.
Yeah, I told him. Yeah.
You know where this guy gets his news source from?
What, the Hyper?
No, G-Man.
Oh, I didn't even know we were talking about him.
No, like, I bet you anything, like, G-Man watches his videos, and he watches G-Man's videos, and they're like, oh, this guy makes a whole lot of fucking sense. Like, okay.
No, because he's basically even said of G-Man and others that they are just Roman Catholic Jesuit agents.
Oh, okay, but you gotta see my point. Like, they're both extremely fucking stupid.
Yeah, but he gets most of his information from just writings of ancient people like John Gill and the Tobias Crisp and a bunch of these other, like, that's all he really reads and looks at. He considers other people that are on YouTube that call themselves Christians or even that call themselves Calvinists. He says they're just working for the Catholic Church and doing their will and all that.
He has a conspiracy theory about everyone who's either Calvinist.
I want to confirm that Christian anarchist. I mean, he's used Catholic as a slur. Is there any theological reason that he sees all these people getting things wrong because they're and he can call them Catholic, or is that just a slur?
I think he's mostly using it as a slur because when I've asked, okay, how am I a Catholic Jesuit agent? He just simply says, well, you believe and promote certain ideas that are very analogous in what they believe. And I'm like, okay, but I don't believe the systems that they hold to. So I don't know what the heck you're getting. And he's like, oh, you don't have to actually know you're being used by them to be used by them.
What I missed? Are you being
nothing? We're just talking about how Hyper-Calvinist is just crazy.
Oh. He thinks the Catholic Church is the source of all evil.
Yeah.
Well, not just that, but that everybody, even Calvinists that call themselves that he's the only true Calvinist today, and everyone else, including me, are just Roman Catholic Jesuit agents.
Mr. Finn Valentine coming in.
Everybody's crazy.
I think he lied to me though when I had asked him had he ever been under physician's care. It's not to dive into his personal thing. It's just I don't want to have a conversation with somebody who's clearly got mental problems. I think that perhaps he has been. There's something mentally going on there.
Well, guys, I'm gonna.
He's not rational.
All right, bye, Matt.
I'm gonna go take a shower. I might come back later, but for now, this is a day.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Steve's gonna keep going, but yeah, goodbye.
We'll see. Depends how interesting Christian anarchist keeps me entertained.
Thank you for having me.
Then you
on.
can guarantee another hour.
Anytime, man.
Bye.
I don't know,
Yeah,
Christian.
thanks for coming in, Matt.
Show.
You guys have a good one.
You too, Matt.
Later.
It depends how much whiskey I've got left.
Oh, that too.
By the way, it's better without milk. You're right.
If you're like me, you've got a whole nother fucking 2 nights of whiskey left.
No, I gotta go. I don't drink that much. Tom bought me some stuff the other, about a month ago, and I don't really drink that much. I had this bottle for a while, and
I didn't think you would drink it up all in one day.
I don't drink that often. What do you expect? No, I didn't. By the way, that bottle of rum. I still have about a quarter of it left in my fridge right now.
Oh,
but I have no mixer for it.
Yeah.
Is this actual Darth, or is this a?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Probably not.
Let me see his profile first before I show him.
Nothing on there.
Nope, not you, Darth. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, we're probably about to get sniped.
Yeah.
That's okay. I can't. Well, actually, I could get him out first. Actually.
Well, I'm talking about like you put the link in the live chat, so.
But this was hours ago.
Yeah. No, I just put it in again, but I can get people out faster than come in.
All right. But if we're sniped, then I guess there you go.
Yeah, I mean it's toward the end of my hangout anyway, so.
Bada bam.
They'll snipe Steve first.
So
how in the hell did you get this?
Live chat down.
So the Christian anarchist, when you see a Calvinist like this, what do you do? Because I
cringe first off.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Calvinists to begin with, but he's like Calvinist. I mean, his name suits him, Hyper-Calvinist. He's just an extreme, a batshit. I mean, he's full on flat Earth, full on young creationist. Where do you go with somebody like that, dude? Because he's not going to accept anything I show him scientifically. He's not going to show anything you accept biblically.
Well, that's when you send them to me, and I'll just have fun with them.
Well, yeah, there's that.
I think that's all you can do at this point. I mean, it's just mockery. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not on a moral high ground where I don't mock people. I've always said that. If there are certain people that are just so goddamn irrational that I find mockery to be entertaining.
He's just a baby because when for some reason there was like it was him and you remember Alex, right? One of Brojo's friends.
I remember Brojo, Alex. Oh, the kid.
Yeah, the guy that we jokingly said was Darth Dawkins' child.
Yeah, he instead of Darth Dawkins' child, now he's Hyper-Calvinists because he's getting much of his information from him, and now Alex is a Hyper-Calvinist.
Oh my God! So Alex has gotten worse.
Yeah, but Brojo is still the same, and apparently there was some kind of dialogue that him, Hyper-Calvinist, and Brojo were gonna do, and for some reason Hyper-Calvinist wanted me on there, and I just then heard him that he was just talking about the thing, and I'm like, good for you. And then he just says, "Get blocked, coward," and just blocks me just because I said, "Good for you."
Well, I always give the people last word, but I was doing my summation, and he just wouldn't shut up. I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to hide you so I can finish this." And I always give people the last word, and he said like coward, and he left. It's like, really? I've just spent 90 minutes in here explaining to you why you don't know shit from Shinola. He claims no logic. He doesn't know a simple syllogism. Never heard of syllogism.
No, because that's the thing. And that's the thing also that somebody
Can you
just said
logically prove that, Steve?
But that's the thing. Some people think he's getting the stuff from Sci-10. No, he thinks Sci-10, Gordon and Greg Bonson, and Van Til are idiots. He's a
Clark.
When it comes to presuppositional, yeah, he's a Clarkian.
Yeah, Clarkian. That's what he said.
Yeah, and so the approaches
everything
are
has to be
different.
deductively proven.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes.
Except he doesn't know what a deductive argument is. Apparently,
he didn't. I
I
asked him, give me a deductive argument. I gave him a deductive syllogism.
we asked for a logical proof because he's demanding, "Hey, can you prove this logically to me?" And you go, "Do you know what modus ponens is?" Well,
no, you said no.
Prove that to me. Well, for fuck's sakes, that isn't even logic 101.
Yeah, and it's so funny when he's talking about proof. He says he doesn't even know what he means by prove something, right? He doesn't know if he's talking about proving something using logic, whether he's talking about proving something as in demonstrating. Is that Benny? Wow, Benny hasn't been in here in years, dude. Benny, how you been? Man, a long time no see, bro. Of course, he doesn't say anything, but he only types it out. But is that the real Benny?
I bet it is.
This is his icon.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Benny the Gangster. It looks like you reached the end. Has Benny ever posted anything? Or was I following?
Benny's a mute.
One follower?
Oh, that's not Benny then.
He's on one follower?
Yeah, that's not Benny.
Yep, he's at it.
Oh, are we getting sniped right now?
Yeah.
Again, the trick.
Yep.
Fine, I'll
So-
stop sniping. God.
I just removed Benny. Anyone else in here?
No, not anymore.
All right, so who else still at?
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, he removed Midnight and Steve.
Well, I supposedly have
That's why you give moderation to more than one person.
I'm adding Steven.
Moderation doesn't really
let's take
matter
over.
with this.
I got the hangout thing on my deal right now. So if anyone else wants to join me in that, I'm counter sniping at the moment. As soon as someone's
I still have Steve in the hangout right now. On my device.
Unless he can find a way to get on back in.
Why do people even snipe?
All right, he says good night all, time to watch TV. Okay, so he's already basically declaring it good night.
All right.
Yeah, it was a good hangout.
All right, so I guess if you guys want to just I think this will also prevent anyone from trying to porn bomb or anything. Just like press exit out now or something.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
So, okay. Nice talking to you all. See you.
Night all.
Good night all.
Bye.